Chapter 2942 Magic City Mountain. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. The clan leader of the Ice Soul clan did not know that Lu Ming had planned to go to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Because of Jing Ye's matter, Lu Ming had to head to the Great Void Holy Dynasty. The 9 Ultimate Heavenly King Mansion was the only way to the Great Void Holy Dynasty. Lu Ming had originally planned to head to the Great Void Holy Dynasty when his cultivation was higher. However, there were benefits to heading to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion earlier. At least, he would be able to understand more about the Great Void Holy Dynasty. There's no time to lose. I'll leave in a few days. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and continued. Lu Ming, go to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. It's best if you go to Magic City Mountain first. The clan leader of the Ice Soul clan said. Magic City Mountain? Lu Ming had a puzzled look. That's right, Magic City Mountain. The clan leader nodded and said, to the west of the Qin Heaven Starfield is a starfield that's close to the Qin Heaven Starfield. It's called the Chu Heaven Starfield. The Magic Capital Mountain is located in the Chu Heaven Starfield. In the past, when the Dark Ice clan left the Qin Tian Starfield, they often went to Magic City Mountain. I suspect that Magic City Mountain is where the Dark Ice clan and the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion come into contact. Therefore, we might be able to find clues on Magic City Mountain. Very few people know about this. We have also been secretly watching the Dark Ice clan and discovered it by accident. The clan leader of the Ice Soul clan said. Alright, I'll go to Magic City Mountain first. Lu Ming nodded. Both parties chatted for a while more before Lu Ming got up and left. Before he left, the Ice Soul clan's patriarch gave Lu Ming a star map of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. However, the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion occupied a huge territory. The star map only gave a rough location. Many small places were not clearly marked. Therefore, Lu Ming thought of Wu Zifeng. Wu Zifeng came from the Great Wu family of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He would still need help if he went to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Coincidentally, Wu Zifeng was in the Kongxian sect during this period of time. Not long after, Lu Ming returned to the Kongxian sect and looked for Wu Zifeng. He explained his purpose of visit and Wu Zifeng agreed without hesitation. Yu Linglong knew about it and also clamored to come along. In the end, Lu Ming brought Xiao Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong with him and left Kongxian sect quietly without alerting anyone. Want to leave the Qin Heaven Starfield, one had to take the Interstar Field Teleportation Array. The Qin Heaven Galaxy's Intergalaxy Teleportation Array was on planet Wan Ling. The 4 of them arrived at planet Thousand Spirits. After paying an expensive toll, they stepped into the teleportation formation to Chutian Star Field. Lu Ming felt as if he was traveling through the void. He looked at the lights and shadows that passed by him. He knew that he was moving forward at an astonishing speed. However, the distance between the 2 star areas was too far. Even if they took the teleportation formation, the process would still be very long. This process lasted for half a month. The surroundings trembled, and a ray of light pierced through. Lu Ming knew that he had arrived at Chutian Star Domain. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. It would take half a month to teleport by using the teleportation array. One could imagine how long the distance was. If they were to fly, it would take God knows how long. Even a God King would not be able to cover such a long distance without thousands of years. The distance between 2 star fields was often many times larger than the territory of the star field itself. This is the Montua Galaxy of the Chutian Star Domain that's closest to the Qin Tian Star Domain. Magic City Mountain is on the other side. Let's go. Wu Zifeng was quite familiar with the Chutian Star Field. He brought Lu Ming and the rest to the teleportation array and headed to Magic City Mountain. Magic City Mountain was really a mountain, a huge mountain floating in the universe. It was like the Mountain of Desolation, incomparably huge, even bigger than many planets. In the vast universe, there were all sorts of strange things and wonders. Not all of them were planets. There were some divine mountains that were even larger than planets floating in the air. There were even some continents that were suspended in the starry sky of the universe, forming their own world. What was even more amazing was that there was an incomparably huge ancient city floating in the starry sky. There were even huge ancient trees and huge desolate beast corpses. After evolution, they formed a world. There were too many of such things to count. Lu Ming was not surprised. After a month's journey, they finally neared Magic City Mountain. Standing in the universe's star field and looking from afar, a huge mountain floated in the starry sky. Above it, demonic mist permeated the air. This was the Magic City Mountain. Let's go. Lu Ming took the lead and flew over. At the same time, he enveloped Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong with a divine power. This was because Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng had not reached the celestial god realm. The two of them were both in the 7th-tier true god realm. To be honest, this cultivation speed was already extremely fast. Of course, compared to Lu Ming and Qiu Yu, there was a huge difference. The four of them landed on the edge of Magic City Mountain and then flew forward. Not long after, a large city appeared in front of them. On the city gate, there were 3 big words, Devil General City. At the city gate, it was quite lively with people coming and going. The four of them walked in and asked about the situation on Magic City Mountain. Magic City Mountain was made up of 37 big cities. One of the rulers was the demonic city. The other 36 cities were the satellite cities of the Magic City Mountain. They surrounded the Magic City and protected it. On Magic City Mountain, Magic City was high and mighty. They were the unquestionable rulers and were extremely powerful. It was said that the city lord of Demonic City was a god king called the Dark Knight God King. Moreover, there was a special product in Demonic City called the Demon Night Spring. This kind of Demon Night Spring was of great help to the soul of cultivators. It could nourish the soul and increase the strength of the soul. The soul of a cultivator was the most important. It was very difficult to improve it. One could imagine the value of the Demon Night Spring. The main source of income for Magic City Mountain was the sale of the Magic Night Spring. And NBSP, but Demon Night Spring was so precious that many factions were after it. Demon Capital Mountain's Dark Knight Deity King was just an ordinary deity king, so he had no control over such a precious treasure. But the fact was that no one dared to touch Magic City Mountain. That was because behind Magic City Mountain, there was a powerful force from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. Many major forces in the Chutian star field knew that the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion was behind the Magic City Mountain. However, they didn't know which force it was. It seems that if we want to investigate whether the Dark Ice Clan is colluding with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, we have to start from the Magic City. However, the control of the Magic City is extremely strict, and outsiders are not allowed to enter. Lu Ming frowned and pondered. Unless it was a special occasion, outsiders were not allowed to enter Magic City. Therefore, Lu Ming had to think of a way to enter Magic City first before he could start his investigation. Unfortunately, for the next few days, Lu Ming did not think of any good ways to enter Magic City. On this day, Lu Ming's group of 4 strolled on the streets and continued to gather information. Suddenly, a few figures appeared in front of them and blocked their way. Chapter 2944 General Fiend Guard. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. A total of 4 burly men stood in front of Lu Ming and the other 3. The 4 big men were wearing black iron armors and had fierce-looking faces. One look and one could tell that they were fierce characters. The 4 of you must be outsiders. I've never seen you before. One of the burly men with a scar on his face swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the other three. When he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong, his eyes were burning with a fiery flame. That's right, we're outsiders and have just come here to train. Lu Ming answered casually. Just arrived? Nonsense. The scar-faced man suddenly shouted as a ferocious smile appeared on his face. He stared at Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong and said, "Some time ago, 2 female thieves appeared in the Devil General City and stole the treasure of the city lord. I saw that their figures were very similar to those 2 female thieves. Now, I will arrest them and bring them back for interrogation. Brothers, take him down." The knife-scarred man roared. He, 2 female thieves, just surrender. The other 3 men in black armor had lecherous looks on their faces. He walked towards Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong with a smile. Now, even a fool could see that the knife-scarred man and the other 3 had obviously taken a fancy to Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong's looks and wanted to get their hands on them. The so-called female thief was just an excuse they made up. "You're looking for death." Wu Zifeng's anger soared to the sky. His aura rushed out and he threw a punch. "A mere 7th stage true god also wants to make a move on me. Courting death." The man with the knife scar sneered and smacked out a palm. A terrifying palm force surged towards Wu Zifeng. 3rd level celestial deity. The knife-scarred man's cultivation was at the 3rd level of celestial deity, much stronger than Wu Zifeng. No matter how much of a genius Wu Zifeng was, he could not make up for it. Seeing this palm fall, even if Wu Zifeng did not die, he would be crippled. Buzz! A figure appeared in front of Wu Zifeng. With a wave of his hand, the knife-scarred man's palm force was dispersed. Brat, you still dare to fight back? You don't know what's good for you. Brothers, leave these 2 to me. You guys take those 2 girls. The knife-scarred man shouted. Attack! The other 3 burly men attacked at the same time. They stretched out their demonic claws and grabbed towards Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong. Lu Ming did not make a move. The other 3 burly men were only 1st-tier celestial gods and were no match for Qiu Yu. As expected, a snow-white blade light bloomed from Qiu Yu's hand. Pft! 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 A blood-red light burst out and 3 miserable screams rang out. The 3 black-armored men were forced to retreat. The 3 men in black armor each had one hand cut off by Qiu Yu. And NBSP moreover, Qiu Yu's attack contained god energy, making it very difficult for the 3 men to recover. Bitch! The 3 men in black armor kept roaring in anger. Die! Qiu Yu said coldly. With a wave of her hand, another blade light was shot out. Not good. The 3 black-armored men's expressions changed drastically, and they quickly retreated, trying to dodge. However, Qiu Yu's attack was shockingly fast. In comparison, the speed of the 3 men in black armor was like a snail. Pft! 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 Another 3 pu-chi sounds were heard. Then, everyone saw the 3 burly men in black armor standing there stiffly, not moving. Blood seeped out of their foreheads, and there was no longer any life in their bodies. The 3 black-armored men had fallen. In that instant, their souls had been destroyed by Qiu Yu. You actually dare to kill one of our fiend general guards? You're seeking death. The knife-scarred man roared and howled. A violent aura filled the air. I originally wanted to investigate in secret and not cause any trouble, but I just had to meet someone who's looking for death. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step toward the man with the knife scar and threw a punch. Devil General Blade. The scar-faced man roared. He unsheathed his saber and slashed at Lu Ming. However, although the knife-scarred man's cultivation was at the 3rd-tier celestial god realm, which was the same as Lu Ming's, he was only the most ordinary celestial god who controlled king-grade divine power. His combat strength was far from Lu Ming's. Boom! A 9-clawed divine dragon flew out and charged at the knife-scarred man. Faced with Lu Ming, the man with the knife scar could not even withstand a single blow. As the 9-clawed divine dragon charged past, all of the man's attacks were instantly destroyed. Bang! The knife-scarred man's body was torn apart by the 9-clawed divine dragon, and he died on the spot. The knife-scarred man's group of 4 was completely annihilated. The streets were already filled with people who were there to watch the show. At this time, they were all discussing. These 4 young men are so bold. They even dare to kill the General Fiend Guards. They're finished. I'm afraid that the other Fiend General Guards have already been alerted and will be here soon. As if to confirm this sentence, an explosive roar came from the depths of the Devil General City. Close the city gate and activate the formation. Anyone who dares to kill my General Demon Guards will be turned to ashes. As soon as he finished speaking, the city gates around the Demon City were quickly closed, and a layer of light shield rose in the sky above the Demon City. Boom! Boom! Powerful auras burst out from all directions of the General Demon City. Black figures rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's expressions changed slightly. Xiao Yu and Lu Ming, on the other hand, were calm. In the entire Magic City Mountain, only the City Lord was a Divine King expert. Given Lu Ming's current strength, he had nothing to fear as long as it was not a God King. At the very least, it was still possible for him to escape. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! From all directions, figures flew over. They were all big men in black armor from all races. The Fiend Guard army has arrived. The surrounding people were shocked. Many people retreated to make way for the demonic guard. Lu Ming and the rest were surrounded by the demonic guards from all directions. There's quite a number of people. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the area and realized that there were 3,000 General Fiend Guards. The 3,000 Fiend General Guards were all at the Heavenly God realm. This power could be said to be very shocking. General Demon City is only one of the 36 satellite cities of the demonic capital mountain. It's really amazing that it has such a powerful force. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. One should know that the strongest person on Magic City Mountain was only a first-level Divine King. Lu Ming could not help but be amazed that he had such a large army of heavenly gods under his command. Perhaps, it's related to the Demon Night Spring? Lu Ming pondered in his heart. Mo Du Mountain had Mo Yechuan, so he was definitely very rich. It wasn't impossible for him to gather many heavenly god realm experts and form an army. Brat, you killed my Fiend General Guard. A particularly burly man stepped out. His violent aura pressed toward Lu Ming. This person was the general of the General Fiend Guards and had a full cultivation of the 6th-level celestial deity realm. Not bad. Lu Ming replied indifferently. Good, very good. In General Fiend City, you dare to kill my General Fiend Guards. Very good. The general of the General Fiend Guard opened his mouth and shouted, "Attack! Kill the man, leave the woman." Chapter 2944 War erupts. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Kill. At the general's command, the General Demonic Guard army roared. At the same time, hundreds of General Demonic Guards stepped out and charged at Lu Ming, launching attacks at him. In their eyes, only Lu Ming posed a threat. Wu Zifeng and the rest were not a threat. You brought this upon yourself, you can't live. I'll go, Lu Ming said indifferently. 10 divine fires burned in his dantian. 10 types of divine power gathered together and surged toward Lu Ming's arm. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming swung his fists continuously, and 9-clawed divine dragons pounced out one after another. A total of 6 9-clawed divine dragons stomped with their claws and destroyed all the fiend guards' attacks. Then, they continued to pounce at them. The dragon claws that were as large as mountains clawed at them. Ah, not good. Quickly retreat. Don't. Hundreds of general fiend guards screamed in fear and tried to dodge, but it was too late. As the dragon claw swiped down, regardless of whether it was a first level, second level, or third level celestial deity, they all exploded, their bodies and spirits destroyed. With a single move, over 100 general fiend guards were annihilated. CSISI. Gasps could be heard from all around. He did not expect Lu Ming's combat strength to be so powerful. Damn it, quickly lay down the demon general formation. The general of the general fiend guards was extremely shocked. He then roared and gathered the general fiend guards to set up a large array to deal with Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming would not give him the chance. Break the air, a cold voice rang out as a dazzling spear light shot toward the general of the fiend guard. This move had already triggered the double combat power of the battle formula. The general of the general fiend guard was unable to block it at all. The spear radiance pierced through the space between his eyebrows and his body fell to the ground. The general is dead. With the death of the general MO guards, the thousands of general MO guards immediately fell into chaos and fled in all directions like ants on a hot pan. Steady. Suddenly, a loud shout came from the sky, and an extremely powerful aura filled the air. How dare you cause trouble in my general devil city? You don't know what's good for you. Kill. Another angry roar was heard in the sky. Then, a figure rushed toward Lu Ming. Before the figure even arrived, a black palm print was already blasting toward Lu Ming. 8th level heavenly deity. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. The moment the other party attacked, Lu Ming could sense the cultivation of the person who attacked. Whoosh! Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and rushed up. A beam of spear light as large as a mountain soared into the sky and pierced toward the palm print. Boom! The spear radiance and the palm print collided with a deafening boom. The sky trembled violently and the force spread in all directions. Then, the spear light and the palm print disappeared. In the next moment, a middle-aged man in a purple robe appeared in the sky. He was thin, but his aura was like a mountain. City Lord, it's the City Lord. We pay our respects to the City Lord. Seeing the purple-robed middle-aged man, the fiend guard calmed down and saluted him. Set up the formation. The purple-robed middle-aged man waved his hand and spoke indifferently. His voice was filled with dignity. Immediately, thousands of general fiend guards moved and set up a formation, waiting for their arrival. However, the purple-robed middle-aged man's cold gaze was fixed on Lu Ming. It's been a long time since anyone dared to kill my general fiend guards in my general fiend city. You will pay a heavy price for this. The city lord of the devil general city said coldly. Aren't you going to ask me why I killed him? Lu Ming said. I don't need to know why you killed them. I only know that you killed the people of my devil general city. That's enough. The city lord's voice became even colder. As soon as he finished speaking, he charged towards Lu Ming. His 8th-tier celestial deity cultivation erupted with all his might. The terrifying palm force pressed down on Lu Ming like an avalanche. Humph. Lu Ming snorted coldly. The other party had attacked Lu Ming without asking for the reason. This had infuriated Lu Ming. In an instant, Lu Ming triggered the tripled combat power of the battle formula. Buzz! The spear trembled and a mountain-like spear radiance swept across the void. Boom! Boom! The huge spear radiance and the pitch-black palm print collided continuously. In an instant, the two of them had exchanged dozens of moves. Break, moon-cutting, die. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. He held the spear with both hands and slashed down. A huge crescent-shaped spear radiance slashed forward violently. Bang! Bang! The city lord's palm print was shattered one after another. Jiang Imo Chang's expression changed drastically. He retreated 10,000 meters before he could stabilize his body. His face was a little pale. So strong? The surrounding people and the general fiend guards were all shocked. Lu Ming's cultivation base was merely at the third-tier celestial deity realm, but his combat strength was actually so powerful that he could actually force the general demon city's city lord to retreat. Could this person be a peerless heaven's favorite from the outside? The general devil city's city lord himself was also extremely shocked. Other than a peerless heaven's favorite from the outside world, no one else could have such strong battle prowess. So what if he's an outsider? He'll have to pay the price for killing my fiend general guard. The eyes of the general devil city's city lord turned cold. Kid, you're quite capable, but if that's all you're capable of, you'll still die. Devil soul curse. The general demon city's city lord shouted. Runes suddenly appeared on his body. These runes formed a kind of curse seal, which was similar to the dark dragon blood curse that Lu Ming had been afflicted with. However, these curse marks covered the general demon city's city lord's entire body like demons. The city lord of the devil general city revealed a pained expression. However, his aura had skyrocketed. He rose to the 9th level celestial deity realm in one go. Brat, die. The general demon city's city master roared in anger and charged at Lu Ming. His claws turned into demonic claws, sharper than divine artifacts, and he clawed at Lu Ming. Break the air, Lu Ming continuously cast the first move of the 3 apocalyptic strikes, space-piercing. Rays of spear light bloomed from Lu Ming's hands, filling the void and charging toward the city master of General Demon City. The two of them exchanged blows once again, but this time, they were evenly matched. The two of them continued to fight in the air. They exchanged dozens of moves in a row, and neither of them could do anything to the other. With Lu Ming's current cultivation base, even if he did not use the ancient god body, the activation of the battle character formula would triple his combat power. It would be enough to fight against a 9th level celestial deity. How is this kid so strong? The city lord of General Devil City was more and more shocked. At that moment, a purple-robed young man appeared not far away. Young city lord. Many general fiend guards saluted the young man. This man was the young city lord of General Devil City, Yan Ji. Yan Ji was also staring at Lu Ming. A 3rd-level heavenly deity actually has such powerful battle prowess. Yan Ji murmured, his eyes full of jealousy. But the next moment, he turned his eyes and the jealousy disappeared, as if he was thinking. Father, stop. After that, Yan Ji sent a message to the General Demon City's city lord. Stop? The General Devil City's city lord was puzzled. That's right. Stop and make peace with this person. This person's talent is astonishing. Perhaps we can use him to help us take back the Spirit Lake. Yan Ji continued. Chapter 2946 Demonic Cities Great War. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Spirit Liquid Lake? Not bad at all. The eyes of the General Demon City's city master lit up. Then, after exchanging a blow with Lu Ming, he quickly retreated. Wait a minute, stop fighting. The General Devil City Lord roared. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Initially, he wanted to activate the battle formula to quadruple his combat strength and finish off his opponent. However, his opponent suddenly stopped fighting. Lu Ming was slightly stunned and stopped attacking. Little brother, with your strength, you must be a peerless heaven's favorite from the outside world. I believe you wouldn't kill someone for no reason. What happened just now? The General Devil City Lord asked. They really bully the weak and fear the strong. Lu Ming laughed in his heart. He thought that the other party was bullying the weak and afraid of the strong. After seeing his ability, he was afraid. However, Lu Ming did not want to fight to the end with the other party. He did not want to blow up the matter. The purpose of his visit to Magic City Mountain was to investigate the Dark Ice Race and the case of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion's treasure being stolen. If the matter was blown up too much, it would be disadvantageous for his investigation. What's going on? Hee, your people are really overbearing, Lu Ming briefly explained what had happened earlier. After hearing this, the General Devil City Lord's face showed anger and he shouted coldly, so that's how it is. He actually captured people without asking for the right and wrong. He really deserves to die. Then, he looked at the other fiend generals and said, just like what I told you, you need evidence for everything, understand? Today, those who have fallen will be your lesson. Yes, yes. Many General Fiend guards nodded their heads, but they felt strange in their hearts. The City Lord usually didn't give such orders. Of course, they didn't dare to question the City Lord's words. Little brother, it seems that this is a misunderstanding. I was too impetuous before. I attacked you without asking for the reason. I'm really sorry. Fortunately, little brother is strong. Otherwise, I'd have committed a sin. The General Devil City Lord smiled. Lu Ming smiled faintly. How could he not see through the City Lord's pretense? Then how should we resolve this matter? Lu Ming asked. Write off everything, naturally write off everything. The General Devil City Lord said. Yen Ji, the young City Lord of General Devil City. How should I address you? At this moment, Yen Jifei came over and greeted Lu Ming with a fist salute. As the saying went, one should not slap a smiling face. Lu Ming smiled faintly and said, Lu Ming, so it's brother Lu. Lu Ming should be from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, right? Only the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion can produce a prodigy like brother Lu. Yen Ji said courteously. Almost. Naturally, Lu Ming would not deliberately deny it. Brother Lu is indeed the pride of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. I love to make friends with people like brother Lu. It's really my good fortune to meet you today. Brother Lu, do you mind going for a drink? Yen Ji said. Of course you can. Lu Ming had an idea in his mind and he nodded in agreement. As the castellan of one of the 36 cities on Magic City Mountain, the other party had a lot of power on Magic City Mountain. Perhaps, he could be of help to Lu Ming's investigation of the Dark Ice Race. Indeed, Lu Ming had to integrate himself into Magic City Mountain in order to better investigate. For this, he would need the other party's help. Moreover, Lu Ming was bold and skilled. He was not afraid that the other party would play any tricks. Please. The General Devil City Lord waved his hand. Not long after, a banquet was prepared in the main hall of the City Lord's mansion. Lu Ming, Xiao Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong were all present. The City Lord of the Demon City and Yen Ji were also present. Brother Lu, you've come to Magic City Mountain for the great battle of Magic City, right? After drinking 2 glasses, Yen Ji's eyes turned and he asked with a smile. The great battle of Demonic City? Lu Ming, Wu Zifeng, and the others looked puzzled. Brother Lu, you guys don't know about the great battle in Shanghai? Yen Ji was a little surprised. I don't know. This is the first time I've heard of it. Lu Ming shook his head. It's not for the great battle in Demonic City? So brother Lu, you're here for Mo Yechuan? Yen Ji guessed again. That's right. It's indeed for the sake of the Demon Night Spring. Lu Ming's heart stirred. This time, he did not deny it. It's not easy to get the Demon Night Spring. You have to go to the magic city to have a chance to buy it. Brother Lu, do you have any way to get into the magic city? Yan Ji asked tentatively. I don't have a way yet. I wonder if Brother Yan has a way to help me get into Shanghai? Lu Ming asked. The joy in Yan Ji's eyes disappeared as he said, there is a way. However, the number of people that we can recommend to enter the demon capital is very limited. At this point, Yan Ji stopped. They're here. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. From Yan Ji's tone, Lu Ming could tell that the other party was going to state conditions. Brother Yan, if you have something to say, just say it. Lu Ming said. That's good. I have something that I would like to ask Brother Lu for help. If Brother Lu can help me, I will think of a way to let the four of you enter the magic city. It might even be possible to get the magic night spring. Yan Ji said. Please speak. Lu Ming said. Soon, there will be a battle between our General Devil City and the nearby Ape Devil City. The younger generation will fight for a spiritual land. Each side will send 3 people. The spiritual land will belong to the side that wins. I would like to ask Brother Lu to fight in the place of General Devil City. Yan Ji finally revealed his purpose. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He had long known that Yan Ji had a condition. Otherwise, he would not have let him off so easily after killing so many people in General Demon City. Alright, I agree. When? Lu Ming nodded directly. It was just a duel between the younger generation on Magic City Mountain. Lu Ming did not take it to heart at all. To him, it was not difficult. It was as easy as lifting a finger. ITLLB tomorrow. I'll thank Brother Lu in advance. Yan Ji raised his cup. The city lord of the General Devil City sat at the side, slowly drinking his wine, and did not speak. After 3 rounds of drinking, the banquet finally ended. Lu Ming and the other 3 stayed in General Demon City for the time being. On the second day, little brother Lu Ming, to avoid alerting the enemy and making them suspicious, it's not good for your friends to follow us. How about they stay in General Demon City for the time being? The General Devil City Lord said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. It was just a few rounds of competition, and it would end very soon. There was no harm in letting Qiu Yu and the others stay here for now. Then, Lu Ming, Yan Ji, and another young man from General Demon City left General Demon City together and headed to Ape Demon City. Ape Demon City was also one of the 36 satellite cities of Demon Capital Mountain. Magic City Mountain. Magic City was high above and ruled Magic City Mountain. As for the 36 satellite cities under him, they were fighting on their own. Demonic City turned a blind eye to this. The battle between the General Devil City and Ape Devil City was particularly fierce. In recent years, the 2 sides had been fighting for a spiritual land, a spiritual liquid lake, and there would be a huge battle from time to time. Chapter 2947 Ape King Transformation. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Therefore, the General Devil City and Ape Devil City set a rule. Every once in a while, both sides would send out 3 geniuses from the younger generation to compete with each other. The winner would obtain the right to use the Spirit Fluid Lake. This time, it was time for the 2 sides to compete again. When Yan Ji saw Lu Ming's amazing combat strength, he wanted to ask for Lu Ming's help. That was why he stopped the city lord of General Demon City. Not long after, a huge city appeared in front of them. The city gates were tightly shut, and there were already many people standing on top of the city gates. Standing on the city gate was the city lord of Ape Demon City and the son of the city lord, Yan Ji's sworn enemy. Yuan Shan, we've already arrived. Where are the people you're going to fight? Yan Ji shouted as he stared at one of the burly young men. The young man's arms were extremely long, reaching his knees. He was extremely burly. He was Yuan Shan, the young city lord of the Ape Demon City. You're really anxious. Since you're in a hurry to be defeated, then I'll naturally fulfill your wish. Yuan Shan chuckled and then stepped out. 2 other young men followed Yuan Shan out. A man and a woman. The man was ordinary, but the woman was quite beautiful. There was a colorful poisonous snake twining around her arm. Yan Zhi's eyes fell on the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. His pupils slightly narrowed and he said, "I've never seen this beautiful lady before. Yuan Shan, could she be a helper you've invited from the outside? On your side, don't you also have someone I haven't met before? You must have also been invited from the outside." Yuan Shan's gaze was fixed on Lu Ming, his eyes glimmering. Yan Zhi's face darkened as he looked at the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. He was a little shocked. Naturally, they knew the background of the Heaven's Pride experts of their Magic City Mountain. However, once they met a Heaven's Pride expert that was invited from the outside, they had no confidence. Although Lu Ming's combat strength was strong, he was only a 3rd-level celestial deity after all. He could not quite figure out the cultivation of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. "Come on, Yan Zhi. Make your move and send you away as soon as possible. I still have to go back and drink with Lady Lian," Yuan Shan said loudly. Towards the end of his sentence, he looked at the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm, and a fiery light flashed in his eyes. "We might not be the ones to lose. Lu Han, you go first," Yan Zhi ordered. "Yes." The young man beside Yan Zhi walked out. "You go and deal with him." Yuan Shan pointed to a young man beside him. The young man stepped forward and stood opposite Lu Han. "The same old rules. The one who wins in the end is the winner," Yuan Shan said. Yan Zhi nodded. Boom! The 2 young men in the arena were engaged in an intense battle. 4th-level celestial deity, control of sacred grade divine power. Lu Ming was slightly surprised. Lu Ming was surprised that the young man, who was selected from the 2 satellite cities at the foot of Mount Magic City, had such a cultivation level. Such a character, when placed in the Qin Heaven Starfield, could already be considered a Saint-Child-level character. It is said that the Qin Heaven Star system is at the edge of the Great Void Holy Dynasty. The cultivation level is very low, and even the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Manor is too lazy to care about it. It seems like it makes sense. Lu Ming pondered. Even though the Chutian Starfield was close to the Qin Heaven Starfield, its cultivation level was far above the Qin Heaven Starfield. The 9 Absolute Heavenly King Manor had sent an army to guard this place, as well as people to manage it. Be it the cultivation environment or the level of cultivation, the Chutian Starfield was far superior to the Qin Heaven Starfield. Naturally, there were more geniuses born there. The 2 of them had the same cultivation and combat strength. After exchanging hundreds of moves, they both suffered heavy injuries and retreated. The first round was a draw. Yan Zhi, it's our turn. Yuan Shan took a step forward, causing the air to rumble. This time, I will definitely defeat you. Yan Zhi's eyes flickered with a ferocious light. He had been fighting with Yuan Shan since young, but every time, he was always a little weaker. This was a sore point in his heart. Defeat me? Ha ha ha, Yan Zhi, let me tell you, you will never be my match in your entire life. Yuan Shan laughed and waved his long arm. His huge fist punched towards Yan Zhi, and a muffled explosion sounded in the air. Yan Zhi waved his palm to meet it. The 2 of them knew each other's moves very well, so at the beginning, the 2 were evenly matched. The 2 of their cultivation were both 5th-level celestial deity. Ape King transformation. After fighting for a while, Yuan Shan let out an angry roar. His body swelled up, and fine hair grew on his skin. He had turned into a giant ape that was 50 meters tall. You actually managed to cultivate the Ape King transformation. Yan Ji roared in shock. Huh, I told you, you'll never be my match. Yuan Shan laughed out loud and stomped on the ground. With every step he took, the ground cracked and shattered. Boom! Yuan Shan's fist, which was like a small hill, smashed towards Yan Ji. Yan Ji roared. His entire body was filled with divine power that was as dark as ink. It turned into several demonic blades and slashed towards Yuan Shan. However, when Yuan Shan's fist landed on the demonic blade trembled violently and exploded. Defeat, defeat! Yuan Shan continued to roar and continuously swung his fists. Yan Ji was also going all out. His demonic blade madly slashed, and in an instant, he had slashed out hundreds of blades. However, in the end, Yan Ji was no match for Yuan Shan. His demonic blade continued to shatter and explode, unable to block Yuan Shan's attack at all. Boom! In the end, Yuan Shan's fist landed on Yan Ji's body. Yan Ji cried out in pain and his body flew out like a cannonball. He fell heavily on the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. Yan Ji, I told you, you're not my match. Yuan Shan laughed out loud, extremely arrogant. Yan Ji's expression was extremely ugly. This time, he had lost even more decisively than before. The gap between him and Yuan Shan had widened again. Now, they could only depend on Lu Ming's performance. Kid, come on. Let me see the strength of an outsider. Yuan Shan's gaze was directed at Lu Ming. Make your move. Once I make my move, you won't have the chance to make your move. Lu Ming said indifferently. Although Yuan Shan's strength wasn't bad, he didn't take him seriously. Arrogant! Yuan Shan roared in rage. He stomped his feet and his body was like a small mountain as he pounced towards Lu Ming. His huge fists were thrown out in succession and the violent fist force was pressing down on Lu Ming. Although Yuan Shan said that Lu Ming was arrogant, he went all out when he made his move. He didn't dare to be careless when facing foreign heaven's favorites. Buzz! Lu Ming cast the 9 heavenly Kuan Peng technique. His figure flickered a few times and he dodged Yuan Shan's attack. However, Yuan Shan's movement was also extremely fast. He twisted his body and charged towards Lu Ming again. Lu Ming dodged again. If you have the ability, don't run. Fight me head-on. Yuan Shan roared. I'm giving you a chance to use it. Once I make a move, you'll have no chance. Since you're so anxious, I'll fulfill your wish. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Chapter 2947 Strange poisonous gas. Lu Ming's voice was heard. Then, he took a step forward and his fist shone with the radiance of divine power. Roar! A dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. A 9-clawed divine dragon flew out from Lu Ming's palm and pounced towards Yuan Shan. Yuan Shan's pupils contracted sharply as he roared and punched out with both fists like a storm. In an instant, he threw hundreds of punches. However, the 9-clawed divine dragon's claw stomped down and his fist prints all collapsed. Pfft! A dragon claw landed heavily on Yuan Shan's body. Yuan Shan screamed as the 50-meter-tall giant ape flew out and smashed into the city wall of the ape demon city, causing the wall to rumble and shake. Yuan Shan's body also shrunk rapidly, returning to the size of a normal person. He spat out a large mouthful of blood, his eyes filled with shock. Lu Ming was right. Once he made a move, Yuan Shan would not have the chance to make a move. Humph! On the city wall, the city lord of Ape Demon City snorted coldly. Lady Lian, I'll be counting on you from now on. Yuan Shan stabilized his injuries and looked at the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm smiled. She strode over to Lu Ming and said, "This young master's cultivation is really good. I wonder which family you come from." "Why should I tell you which family I come from? Don't try to get close to me. Attack." Lu Ming pursed his lips. The face of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm sank. With her looks, if she took the initiative to get close to a man, most men would not reject her. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so boring. "Hee, your cultivation is not bad, but in front of me, you're nothing. Go, kill him." The expression of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm turned cold. She waved her arm and the small snake wrapped around her arm pounced towards Lu Ming at lightning speed. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he thrust it at the small snake. However, the little snake was very agile. It twisted its body and dodged Lu Ming's long spear, then continued to pounce on Lu Ming. CSISI. In the process of pouncing, the little snake opened its mouth and sprayed out a thick green mist. Instantly, the space was filled with a disgusting smell. Poison. Poison. Lu Ming's expression changed. The poison of the primeval universe was naturally incomparable to the heaven realm and the primordial realm. It was extremely terrifying. Legend had it that some poisons could instantly poison all the living beings on an entire life planet to death. Quickly retreat. Seeing this, Yuan Shan and the others were shocked and quickly retreated, distancing themselves from the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. Yan Ji and the other young man's faces also changed and they quickly retreated. The thick green poisonous gas spread towards Lu Ming. "Break the air, break the air." Lu Ming shook his long spear and thrust it out continuously. The spear's gleam stirred up the air and dispersed the poisonous gas. However, the venomous snake was extremely agile. It flickered continuously and approached Lu Ming. Whoosh! Then, he spat out a mouthful of venom like an arrow. This poisonous liquid was formed by the condensation of poisonous gas, and its power was even more terrifying. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm. He waved his hand and divine power surged out, forming a wall of energy. The venom hit the wall of qi and made a sizzling sound, but it didn't break the wall. Chief Sovereign's divine power, humph. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm saw Lu Ming's divine power. She snorted coldly and twisted her snake-like waist, personally charging at Lu Ming. A soft whip appeared in her hand. She waved it like a venomous snake. 6th level heavenly deity. As soon as the woman attacked, Lu Ming could sense her strength. Moreover, the divine energy she cultivated was divine-grade divine energy. The soft whip whistled through the air, its power extremely shocking. Moon-slaying sword, Lu Ming muttered. 10 types of divine powers gathered and struck down, forming a crescent-shaped spear ray that slashed at the soft whip. With a pft, the soft whip was cut in half, out of Lu Ming's expectations. There was almost no resistance. However, after the soft whip was cut in half, it turned into a thick fog and enveloped Lu Ming entirely. Hee, you've been enveloped by my deity vanquishing mist. Just wait for your death. The ferocious voice of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm rang out, filled with killing intent. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. This woman's first move was to kill him. She was extremely ruthless. The mist filled the air and rushed toward Lu Ming as if it had a mind of its own. With a single thought, Lu Ming covered his body with 10 types of divine powers to protect himself from the mist. However, Lu Ming's expression changed. His divine power could not completely block this mist. Wisps of mist seeped into the wall of divine power and into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body did not have much defense against the mist. This mist did not harm Lu Ming's body at all. It headed straight for Lu Ming's sea of consciousness and rushed toward his soul. Chi. Lu Ming's soul let out a sizzling sound, and a sharp pain spread throughout his body. This mist could actually harm the soul. In the primal universe, most cultivators mainly cultivated divine power. Divine bodies were second, and soul cultivators were the least. Most people believed that as long as Shen power was strong enough, it could destroy everything and destroy the world. No matter how strong your soul is, if I destroy your divine body, your soul will be destroyed as well. What's the point of cultivating your soul then? Therefore, it was the first time that Lu Ming had encountered such a soul-attacking technique in the primeval universe. Boom! Lu Ming controlled his divine energy and it rushed toward the soul, trying to destroy the mist. Chi-chi! The divine power collided with the mist, producing a sizzling sound. However, the effect was not as obvious as Lu Ming had imagined. Still not dead. The eyes of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm widened in surprise. Ordinary third-level celestial deity existences would have their souls obliterated and die in an instant if they were enveloped by this mist. However, Lu Ming seemed to be fine. Of course, she did not know that Lu Ming could control 10 types of divine powers, 2 of which were divine-grade divine powers. The convergence of 10 types of divine powers had more or less offset a part of her mist. Therefore, the mist did hurt Lu Ming, but it was not particularly serious. It was just a little painful. Little poisonous mist, let this old lady absorb it. At this moment, the sound of the measure character rang out. The measure character glowed and a powerful suction force appeared. The mist was absorbed by the measure character in an instant. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm sensed that the mist was being absorbed. Her expression changed and she shouted. The snake then coiled around Lu Ming again. It's time to end this. Lu Ming muttered. 9 ice chains suddenly flew out from his body. The 9 ice chains wrapped around the little snake in an instant. The coldness spread and the little snake was directly frozen into an ice cube. You! Quickly release Xiao Lu. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm screamed. Let it go? Was that even possible? Since the beginning, you've been trying to kill me. If I don't teach you a lesson, do you think I'm easy to bully? Lu Ming sneered. With a shake of the ice chains, the small snake was crushed into powder. Chapter 2948 Furious. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. You killed Xiao Lu, you actually killed Xiao Lu. Ah, I want you dead, I want you dead. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm shrieked, her eyes bloodshot. She opened her mouth and mist kept spewing out, shrouding Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shrouded in a cloud of fog. Roar! Roar! All of a sudden, dragon roars could be heard from within the mist. Then, 6 9-clawed divine dragons appeared. Each of them was 10,000 meters long. They roared into the sky, and their dragon might filled the air. The 6 9-clawed divine dragons pounced out and unleashed a vast amount of energy. The mist was immediately dispersed in all directions. The Kunpeng's body flashed and Lu Ming appeared in front of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm was shocked. She quickly retreated and pushed with both hands. A few giant pythons condensed and pounced toward Lu Ming. However, when the 6 9-clawed divine dragons pounced over, the giant python was crushed into pieces. Bang! The 9-clawed divine dragon pounced out and struck the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The woman let out a blood-curdling screech and followed in Yuan Shan's footsteps. She crashed into the city wall and spat out a large mouthful of blood. It was unknown how many bones in her body were broken. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm was only a 6th-level heavenly deity. Even if she could control divine-grade divine energy, she was only about the same as Qin Wuyo. However, her methods were rather strange and could directly harm the soul. That was why Lu Ming was delayed for some time. Now that the mist was useless against Lu Ming, the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm naturally could not withstand a blow. Kill, die. Lu Ming shouted coldly. The nine-clawed divine dragon Dharma form continued to charge at the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. Since the other party wanted to kill her, Lu Ming would not let him off. No, Ape City Master, save me. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm shouted in fear. Stop. The city lord of the ape demon city shouted and rushed out. With a punch, he destroyed the nine-clawed divine dragon Dharma and saved the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. Ninth level heavenly deity? Lu Ming muttered. The cultivation of the city lord of ape demon city was one level higher than that of general demon city. However, Lu Ming was fearless and faced him from a distance. Ape City Master, are you trying to break the rules? Yan Ji roared. According to the rules, the older generation couldn't interfere. Otherwise, the city lord of the demon city could go to the demon capital to impeach the city lord of the ape demon city. Humph, who said I'm going to break the rules? It's just that the outcome of the battle has already been decided. Why would I need to kill him? The city lord of ape demon city said coldly. Lu Ming sneered but did not continue to attack. He was not afraid of the city lord of the demonic ape city. However, if he were to fight with the city lord, he was afraid that he would reveal some of his trump cards. In demonic city, Lu Ming always felt that it was better to keep some of his trump cards. Ape City Lord, we have won this battle. The spirit lake should be ours. Yan Ji shouted. The city lord's face darkened. Before he could arrive, the Devil General City had actually invited such a powerful heaven's favorite. Even the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm was not her match. Take it. With a cold face, the city lord of Ape Demon City waved his hand and a token flew to Yan Ji, who caught it in his hand. Yan Ji was overjoyed when he saw the token in his hand. With this token, the Spirit Lake would belong to General Devil City. In the future, General Devil City's strength would definitely increase. Let's go. The city lord of Ape Demon City snorted and turned to walk into the city. The others also turned around and left. Brat, kill Xiao Lu. I'll remember this. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm cast a cold glance at Lu Ming and flew into the city. Brother Lu, it's all thanks to you this time. Yan Ji came to Lu Ming and thanked him. It doesn't matter, as long as you can help me get into Magic City, it's fine. Lu Ming smiled faintly. That's for sure. Let's go back. Yan Ji said. Then, the three of them headed toward General Demon City. Not long after, in the main hall of the Devil General City. Ha ha ha, good, good, good. The General Devil City Master looked at the token in his hand and laughed out loud. He had competed with the Ape Demon City for many years and had been suppressed for many years. Now that he had finally won, he was naturally happy. City Lord Yan, where are my friends? Lu Ming said. Hearing this, the city lord of the Devil General City's expression changed slightly. He smiled and said, your friends are all cultivating in seclusion. It will take some time for them to come out. Brother Lu, you can stay here for a while. Huh? Closed-door training? Lu Ming's face darkened and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. The General Devil City Lord was lying. He wouldn't take long to compete with the Ape Devil City. Xiao Yu and the others would never choose to go into seclusion at this time. Moreover, the three of them were in closed-door cultivation. City Lord Yan, where are my friends? I want to see them. Lu Ming's voice became more serious. He obviously did not believe the other party. Little brother Lu, they're really in closed-door cultivation. The General Devil City Lord said. Boom! A powerful aura burst out of Lu Ming's body, and a terrifying pressure filled the hall. Yan Ji's face changed, and he quickly retreated behind the General Devil City's city lord. The city lord of General Devil City's face darkened and kept changing. "Tell me, where's my friend? Don't try to fool me with the excuse of closed-door cultivation." Lu Ming's voice was heavy, and there was a faint icy killing intent. "AI." At this time, the city lord of the Devil General City suddenly heaved a long sigh and said, "That's right. They're not in seclusion. They're no longer in General Devil City." "He's not in General Demon City? What do you mean by that?" Lu Ming's voice turned even colder. He could barely suppress the anger in his heart. "They've been taken away," the General Devil City Lord said. "Who is it?" Lu Ming asked. "Brother Lu Ming, it's better if you don't ask. You can't afford to offend the other party," the General Devil City Lord said. "Speak, who is it?" Lu Ming shouted. "Brother Lu Ming, I think you should just leave. Just treat your friends as dead," the General Devil City Lord said. Boom. 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 His words made the aura on Lu Ming's body become even more violent, like a volcano about to erupt. "Speak." Lu Ming's voice was icy cold, exuding a cold killing intent. His patience had reached its limit. "Sigh, since Brother Lu is so persistent, I'll tell you." The General Demon City Master sighed and took a few steps forward, approaching Lu Ming as if he wanted to tell him something. However, just as the Demon City's City Master was about to approach Lu Ming, a cold murderous intent burst out from his eyes. He shouted coldly, "Go to hell." Whoosh! A demonic blade was aimed at Lu Ming's glabella. "You're looking for death." Lu Ming was furious. His divine power erupted like a volcano. At the same time, he activated the battle character formula, which multiplied his combat power by 4. An ice chain flew out from between his eyebrows and blocked the attack of the General Demon City's City Lord. The General Demon City's City Lord retreated quickly after his attack missed. He took Yen Ji and retreated far away. Lu Ming, who went berserk. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Do it. The city lord of Jiangmo City took Yen Ji and retreated far enough, then he roared. Buzz. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. As soon as the city lord of the Devil General City finished speaking, figures appeared from all directions. General Fiend Guards, more than 3,000 General Fiend Guards, surrounded the area in all directions. In addition, there was a pattern to where these General Fiend Guards were standing. Over 3,000 General Fiend Guards had set up a large formation. The city lord of the General Demon City was well prepared and had no intention of letting Lu Ming leave. "Where are my friends?" Lu Ming asked again. His killing intent was already at its peak. "Hee, it's fine if I tell you. Your friend was taken away by the people of Shanghai. Furthermore, I was the one who informed the people of Shanghai to come." The General Devil City Lord sneered. "Why?" Lu Ming suppressed his anger and asked. He needed more information to save Qiu Yu and the rest. "Why?" "Ha ha ha, let me tell you, the Night Demon King of Demonic City has placed a demonic soul curse on every city lord of a satellite city. This curse is constantly torturing me, and only those who have made great contributions can remove this curse, do you understand, and your friends are all very talented. If you give them to Shanghai, they will be the best materials to become demon slaves." "Ha!" The General Devil City Lord roared and laughed like a madman. Lu Ming understood now. He had offered the city lord of the demonic city, Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong, to the demonic city in order to remove the demonic soul curse on his body. "I helped you take back the Spirit Lake, and you're using this method to repay me?" Lu Ming said coldly. "If you don't do it for yourself, the heavens will destroy you." I'll be free by sacrificing you. As long as I capture you and offer you to the Demon King, he will definitely remove my demon soul curse seal, ha ha ha. The General Devil City Lord laughed, his face full of anticipation, as if he could already see the moment he was removed from the devil soul curse. You should die. Lu Ming said coldly, his voice icy. At this moment, his killing intent toward the City Lord of General Devil City was extremely strong. He really didn't expect that the General Devil City Lord would be so despicable. No wonder he had suggested for Qiu Yu and the others to stay here. He had planned everything. He did not even want to let Lu Ming off. Lu Ming, you do have some ability. However, I've already made preparations and set up the Fiend Guard formation. With the combined power of 3,600 General Fiend Guards, it's more than enough to suppress you. Attack! The General Devil City Lord roared. Kill! Kill! A total of 3,600 General Fiend Guards roared. Their divine power gathered in a strange way and formed a huge hand that slammed down on Lu Ming, trying to suppress him. The power of this palm had at least reached 9th level celestial deity. Boom! Lu Ming charged up and activated the battle character formula that increased his combat power by 4 times. A ray of spear radiance pierced through the air and collided with the huge palm print. The palm print shook violently and then shattered. However, this was only the first wave of the enemy's attack. Then, palm prints were formed one after another, pressing down on Lu Ming continuously. Lu Ming kept casting the sky-piercing move. The spear's gleam soared into the sky and destroyed the palm prints. For a time, the two sides were in a stalemate. So strong? The General Devil City Lord was shocked. With the power that the Great Fiend Guard array was releasing now, even an ordinary 9th level celestial deity would be suppressed. However, Lu Ming was not suppressed. This level of combat strength truly shocked him. Activate the Fiend Guard formation's second attack. The General Devil City Lord shouted. Instantly, the 3,600 General Demon Guard started to move. They moved in a strange pattern and gathered the divine qi in the heaven and earth into the array, increasing the power of the array. Instantly, Lu Ming was at a disadvantage and the spear's gleam was suppressed. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, no matter how strong you are, you will be suppressed by me. The General Devil City Lord laughed out loud, extremely excited. The stronger Lu Ming was, the more attention he would receive after he was offered to the Night Demon Lord. The more likely the demonic soul curse on him would be removed. Bang! Bang! The General Demon City Master stepped forward and charged at Lu Ming. Runes appeared on his body, forming many runes. These were the Devil Soul Curses. Although the Devil Soul Curse seal was constantly tormenting him, it could also increase his combat power for a short time once he used it. He activated the Devil Soul Curse mark, and the curse mark roared like a devil. At this moment, the General Devil City Lord's strength had risen to 9th level celestial deity. Boom! Together with the Fiend Guard formation, he struck out a palm at Lu Ming. All of you will die. A cold voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. After he came to Magic City Mountain, he had not revealed all his trump cards so that he could use them at the crucial moment. But now, he had no choice but to use it. Roar! A roar came from Lu Ming. This was the roar of an ancient god. Lu Ming's body grew rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god that was hundreds of meters tall. The main hall of the City Lord's mansion crumbled in Lu Ming's huge body, sending gravel flying everywhere. What's that? The ancient god body that was hundreds of meters tall stood above the City Lord's mansion. It was hard not to attract attention. Many people in the General Demon City looked at Lu Ming in shock. Boom! And NBSP after transforming into a young ancient god, Lu Ming's strength surged, and he swept out with his massive spear. Boom! 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 All the attacks that were aimed at Lu Ming from all directions exploded and turned into rolling chi that was swept back by Lu Ming's long spear. At least a few hundred General Fiend guards screamed as their bodies exploded and died on the spot. The city lord of General Devil City groaned as he was hit by the spear radiance. He retreated and spat out a mouthful of blood. How is that possible? How is this possible? Looking at the ancient god body that was hundreds of meters tall, the General Devil City master shouted in fear. Lu Ming actually had such a trump card. He was so powerful. Was he still human? Kill! Kill, kill, kill! Lu Ming roared and cast the moon-splitting technique. He swept his long spear horizontally and the crescent-shaped spear's gleam covered half of the area. Pfft! The Fiend Guard formation could not even withstand a single blow and was immediately broken. In this direction, there were at least 1,000 General Fiend Guards who had died under the spear radiance without even being able to let out a scream. Monster, monster! The city lord of the General Devil City trembled violently, and his face was filled with fear. Yan Ji was even more miserable. He was drenched in cold sweat. He looked at Lu Ming, who was like a god of war, and he almost peed his pants. Go, go! The General Devil City Lord reacted and was about to escape with Yan Ji. However, Lu Ming would not let him escape. Stay here! Lu Ming bellowed and pressed his long spear down. Like a mountain range, it pressed down on the General Demon City's city master. Boom! 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 The spear radiance was thousands of miles long. As it pressed down, the entire city lord's mansion exploded and was razed to the ground. Chapter 2950 Leave no one alive. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Block it, block it. The General Devil City Lord roared, and the devil soul curse mark on his body burned like a flame. He activated it to the extreme. At this moment, the Demon City Lord's strength was unleashed to the peak, even surpassing ordinary 9th-level celestial deities. He waved his hands and formed two huge palms that blasted upwards in an attempt to block Lu Ming's move. However, after Lu Ming transformed into an ancient god body, his combat strength was so powerful that he could not withstand it. Boom! The spear's radiance slammed heavily on the palm. The palm only managed to block it for a moment before it crumbled with a bang and dissipated into energy. The huge spear light hit the General Devil City's city master heavily. The city lord of General Devil City let out a blood-curdling screech as the ground continued to crack open, revealing a huge spear-shaped mark. The city lord of Jiangmo City was embedded in the ground like a pool of mud. His bones were almost broken, and his body almost exploded. Blood was spurting out. He was already dying from serious injuries. As for Yan Ji, he had already been turned into a pile of flesh under the bombardment of the spear radiance. He was as dead could be. Run, quickly run. Hurry up. The remaining General Fiend Guards screamed in fear and fled in all directions. All of you, die. Lu Ming shouted, his killing intent was extremely strong. He executed the 9 heavenly Kuan-Peng technique and chased after the demonic general guards while continuously sweeping out with his long spear. Once the array was broken, these General Fiend Guards were completely defenseless in Lu Ming's hands. They exploded one after another. Spare me, spare me. Many General Fiend Guards cried out for mercy. However, Lu Ming's eyes were cold and merciless. He continued to attack and reap lives. In less than a moment, Lu Ming had killed all 3,600 General Fiend Guards. Not a single one was left. Then, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he landed beside the General Demon City's city master. Don't kill me, the city lord of General Devil City shouted. At this moment, he had no hatred, only fear. Tell me, how can I save my friend? Lu Ming's cold voice was heard. I don't know. They were taken to Shanghai. I don't know where they'll be taken to. The General Demon City Lord shouted. Then go to hell. Lu Ming said coldly. Wait a minute, didn't you want to enter Magic City? Also, if you want to save your friend, you have to enter the Magic City. I have a token here that can allow you to enter the Magic City smoothly. As long as you let me go, I'll give you the token. Jiangmo City Lord called out. You don't have the right to negotiate with me. Hand it over. Lu Ming shouted coldly. No, unless you don't kill me, I will never give it to you. Jiangmo City Lord shouted. This was his only chance to save his life, so how could he say it out loud? Let's see if you'll tell me. Lu Ming snorted coldly. He stretched out his hand and pointed. A stream of divine power rushed into the glabella of the General Demon City Master and rushed toward his soul. Ah! The General Devil City Lord let out a shrill scream. He felt as if his soul was about to be torn apart. Are you going to hand it over? Lu Ming asked. Not handing it over? Come on. This little bit of torture is nothing compared to the torture of the Devil Soul Curse Seal. If you don't let me go, don't even think about getting the token. The General Devil City Lord roared. He had been tortured by the Devil Soul Curse Seal all year round, so his endurance was extremely high. This kind of method was ineffective against him. Hee, do you think I won't be able to get it if you don't hand it over? Your token must be hidden in your storage ring, right? Lu Ming smiled faintly. The city lord's face turned pale. Lu Ming knew that he had guessed correctly. Don't, the General Demon City Lord shouted, but it was too late. Pucci. A spear light pierced through the city master of General Devil City's glabella, killing him completely. Then, Lu Ming took off the storage ring of the Demon City master and searched through it. The next moment, Lu Ming waved his hand and 9 tokens appeared in the air. 9 different tokens. Which kind of token is the one to enter Shanghai? Lu Ming frowned. Well, no, once we ask someone. Lu Ming gave a self-deprecating smile and grabbed at the air. In the distance, an old man could not help but be grabbed by Lu Ming. "Milord, spare me, spare me." The old man screamed and begged for mercy. He was almost scared to death. At this moment, he was secretly regretful. If he had known, he wouldn't have watched the fun. Which token is needed to enter the Magic City? Lu Ming pointed at the 9 tokens and asked. So that's what he was asking. The old man let out a long sigh of relief and quickly pointed to a golden token. This one. With this token, you can freely enter and exit the Magic City. You can even bring 5 people with you. Alright, get lost. Lu Ming swung his arm and threw the elder far away. Then, Lu Ming put away the 9 tokens and soared into the sky, leaving General Demon City. After Lu Ming left, the Demon City was in chaos. The City Lord's residence was razed to the ground. The Demon City's City Lord and thousands of General Demon Guards were killed. This was a huge matter. One could imagine what kind of waves it would cause. Ape Demon City. The City Lord of Ape Demon City was shocked when he heard the news. Who destroyed the Devil General City? The City Lord of Ape Demon City asked with a look of fear on his face. If the other party could destroy General Devil City, he could also destroy him, which made him tremble with fear. However, the answer he received was that he didn't know. No one knew who had destroyed General Demon City. All the General Demon Guards who had seen Lu Ming were killed. The other onlookers only saw Lu Ming's appearance as an ancient god, but they did not see his actual body. Thus, many legends were left behind. Some said that the city master of the demon city had offended the ancient gods and angered them, so his clan was exterminated by them. All sorts of legends became more and more exaggerated as they spread. The city lord of Ape Demon City spent a few days in fear and anxiety. After finding out that everything was fine, he let out a long sigh of relief. After Lu Ming left the demonic city, he transformed into his normal form and found a hidden place to rest for a few days. Then, he headed in the direction of the demonic city. Magic City was located in the center of Magic City Mountain. It was surrounded by 36 satellite cities, which was magnificent. There were a total of 4 city gates in the demonic city. There was one in the north, south, east, and west, and each gate was heavily guarded. Unless one was a citizen of the demonic city or had a recommendation token, no one could enter. Lu Ming came to the west city gate and stepped in. Stop! A group of strong men in iron armor stood in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. A token. One of the brawny men who looked like a team leader was even more direct. He glared at Lu Ming with a cold gaze. He was prepared to launch an attack if something went wrong. Lu Ming's palm glowed and a golden token appeared. The other party glanced at the golden token, and his expression eased a little. He nodded and said, "Go in." After saying that, "Move." Lu Ming stepped forward and walked into the Magic City. Huge stone houses were built in Demonic City. They were hundreds of meters tall and looked magnificent. There weren't many people in Demonic City. Almost all of them were subordinates of the Night Demon King and his family. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2951 Enemies in Magic City. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. How do I find Xiao Yu and the others? Lu Ming frowned and pondered. He found a place to stay and asked around for information. Unfortunately, Lu Ming did not have any clues after a few days. This made him anxious. The longer time passed, the more dangerous it would be for Xiao Yu and the rest. Lu Ming could not wait to kill his way to the residence of the City Lord of Magic City. However, there were many experts in the City Lord's mansion of Demonic City. There were probably many existences close to the Divine King realm. Moreover, there was also the Night Devil King, a true Divine King. The difference between a celestial god and a Divine King was huge. Given Lu Ming's current cultivation base, he would most likely die if he encountered a Divine King. This matter could only be considered at length. However, a few days later, Lu Ming heard a piece of news that made his eyes light up. Not long after, the Great Demonic City War would be held in Demonic City. This was the second time that Lu Ming had heard the term Great Battle of Magic City. The first time he heard it was when Yan Ji asked him when he met him. At that time, Lu Ming did not pay much attention to it and did not understand it in detail. This time, Lu Ming had a detailed understanding of it. The Great Battle of Demonic City was a competition between the younger generation of Demonic City Mountain, and it was personally organized by the Night Demon King. In the past, it was a method for the Night Demon Lord to select talents. However, this time's Demonic City War was different. This time, it was because the Night Demon King had a daughter who had unparalleled talent. She was young, but her battle power was shockingly high. Moreover, she was also a country-toppling beauty. Therefore, this time, the Night Demon King spread the news that the Demonic City War would be open to the public. The Heaven's favorites from outside of Magic City Mountain can also participate. As long as they were in the top 10, they would be rewarded with 500 grams of Demon Night Spring. This was a great temptation. This was because the Demon Night Spring had a great nourishing effect on a cultivator's soul. Long-term use would make the soul stronger and more condensed. The spiritual consciousness would also become stronger. Unfortunately, the production of the demon night spring was very little. On average, it could only produce one gene every 100 years. The supply was in short supply. Getting into the top 10 and being rewarded with a gene of demon night spring was a great temptation. Not only were the Heaven's favorites from Magic City Mountain rubbing their hands in anticipation, even the Heaven's favorites from outside Magic City Mountain rushed over after hearing the news. No wonder I met that woman. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the woman with a snake wrapped around her arm whom the Ape Demon City had invited. It was very likely that she had come for the great battle in Demonic City. In addition, the top 10 Heaven's favorites can join Demonic City at any time if they want to and become the Demonic Lord of Demonic City. Their status will be second only to the Night Demon King, only below one and above hundreds of millions of people. And NBSP in addition, whoever defeated the Night Demon King's daughter and won first place would not only get 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring, but also the chance to date the Night Demon King's daughter. The Demon King is trying to expand his power. Some people discussed in private. Recruiting foreign Heaven's favorites and granting them the title of Demon Lord. He even chose the top Heaven's favorites to be friends with his daughter. He was obviously trying to expand his power and increase the strength of Demon Capital Mountain. First place, I want it. Lu Ming muttered. He wasn't interested in the 5 kilograms of Mo Yechuan, nor was he interested in the beauty of the Night Demon King's daughter. He just wanted a chance to get close to the Night Demon King's daughter. As long as he could get close to the Night Demon Lord's daughter, he would have the chance to find out where Qiu Yu and the others were being held. Therefore, he had to get first place in the Great Battle of Demonic City. The Great Battle of Demonic City was in half a month's time. In the following time, Magic City became lively. Because of this opening, many foreign Heaven's favorites could enter the Demonic City without a token as long as they showed enough strength. Therefore, during this period of time, some young figures could be seen on the streets of Magic City from time to time. There were men and women, and they had dignified appearances. At first glance, one could tell that they were extraordinary. "Kid, it's you." Suddenly, a sharp cry was heard. Lu Ming looked for the source of the voice and frowned. He saw a familiar face. It was the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. Enemies really meet on a narrow road. Beside the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm, there was a young man. This person was tall and sturdy, and his hair was tied into many tiny braids. The most striking thing was that there was a snake wrapped around each of his arms. One of them was as red as blood, while the other was as white as snow. The two huge snakes flicked their tongues and stared at Lu Ming with cold eyes. "Junior sister, is this the brat who killed your Xiao Lu?" The young man with a ponytail asked loudly. He looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious gaze. "Yes, senior brother, it's him. I want him to pay with his life." The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm glared at Lu Ming with a deep-rooted hatred in her eyes. "He's dead." The man with the plaited hair grinned hideously and strode toward Lu Ming. A powerful aura emanated from his body. "Kid, the one who killed you is using wizard blood." The witch's blood shouted and pressed his palm down on Lu Ming. His palm enlarged rapidly and his 5 fingers seemed to have transformed into 5 giant pythons, blasting towards Lu Ming. The powerful pressure spread in all directions, forcing many people to retreat. 8th level celestial deity, divine grade divine power. The moment the other party attacked, Lu Ming could sense his strength. This kind of strength could be said to be shocking. He was definitely a top genius from the 9 Heavens Royal Palace. In an instant, Lu Ming activated the 4-fold combat power of the battle formula. The 10 types of divine powers in his body roared wildly and he threw a punch. Roar! A 9-clawed divine dragon flew out, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It pounced at the other party and collided with his palm. "Break, break!" The witch's blood shouted and suddenly exerted force. With a boom, Lu Ming's nine-clawed divine dragon image collapsed. His body trembled and he retreated continuously. He only managed to stabilize himself after retreating more than a dozen steps. An 8th-level heavenly deity divine sun character was truly too powerful. For example, when the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion and the Qin heaven star region's geniuses were competing, the other party's next opponent was a divine sun level 8th level heavenly deity. Although Lu Ming had defeated the other party, that was after he had transformed into the ancient god body. He had not transformed into the ancient god body. Lu Ming was still not the other party's match. Therefore, it was normal for him to be forced back by the witch's blood. To be able to take one of my moves and not die, you have some ability. However, you still can't escape death. Wuxia laughed hideously, and his killing intent grew stronger. He was about to launch another attack on Lu Ming. Stop! At this moment, a loud roar was heard. Then, a group of armored figures flew over and surrounded them from all directions. The two of you, fighting and killing, are not allowed in the Magic City. Please give me some face. If you have any grudges, you can fight after we leave the Magic City. One of the burly men stepped forward and cupped his fists at Lu Ming and Wuxia. Humph! Wuxia snorted coldly and retracted his aura. In Demonic City, he had no choice but to give face to the Night Demon King. Moreover, he had another purpose for coming here. It was not wise to alert the enemy now. Since the Shanghai guards have spoken, they'll let this brat off for the time being. Wuxia said with a cold smile. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2952 Fighting on the Stage. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Wuxia sneered, then looked at Lu Ming and said, Kid, you're lucky now. You're here to participate in the Great Battle of Shanghai, right? Very well, I hope you don't meet me in the Great Battle of Demonic City. Otherwise, it'll make you die a miserable death. Junior sister, let's go. After leaving these words, the witch blood and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm left the place. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Good luck? Who was the lucky one? Lu Ming turned around and left the place. In the next few days, nothing much happened. However, the number of Foreign Heavens favorites in Demonic City increased. Many of these Foreign Heavens favorites had grudges against each other, so it was inevitable that they would clash with each other. Hence, during this period of time, the Shanghai guards had increased their patrols. As for Lu Ming, he still did not have a single clue about Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong. He was in a bad mood. Finally, the time for the great battle in Demonic City had arrived. On this day, a huge open space outside the city lord's mansion in Shanghai was filled with people. Many people in Shanghai had come to watch. The empty space was surrounded by Magic City guards in iron armor. The city lord has arrived. A shout was heard. Then, a group of people flew out. The leader was a burly man in a black demon robe. This man's aura was extraordinary, and a king's chi faintly emanated from him. With a single glance, one could tell that he was a god king. This man was the lord of Demonic City, the Night Demon King. Beside the Night Demon Lord was a young woman. This woman looked to be in her 20s. Her figure was extremely good, revealing her slender and alluring figure. Her figure was perfect, so explosive and captivating. What a beautiful woman, what an alluring woman, is this girl the daughter of the Night Demon King? When many men saw this woman, their eyes burned with passion and anger. I heard that in this Demonic City war, as long as you defeat the Night Demon King's woman and win first place, you will be able to date her and even have the chance to become her son-in-law. How can I miss out on such a beautiful woman? I want first place. The first place is mine." In the crowd, many foreign heavens favorites had fiery eyes and were rubbing their fists, wanting to get first place. "Everyone, quiet down." The Night Demon King stood high in the air and waved his hand, causing the entire place to fall silent. "I am Dark Night Sky." Night Demon Lord introduced himself. Night Sky was his name. "This is my woman, Night Rose." The Night Demon Lord introduced the enchanting woman beside him. Everyone nodded. The enchanting woman was indeed the daughter of the Night Devil King. I believe that everyone has heard of the rules of the Great Battle in Shanghai. However, I'm going to announce it again now. This battle will be divided into 32 battle platforms. At this point, the Night Demon King waved his hand, and 32 light balls flew out of his sleeve. After they flew out, they expanded in the wind and quickly became 32 huge battle stages, floating in the air. There are 32 battle platforms. You can enter any one of them. Once you step onto the platform, you will be able to fight each other. The one who remains on the platform will be the one who successfully advances to the next round. There will be a total of 32 heavens favorites who will advance to the next round. The Night Demon Lord announced. Everyone's heart moved. This rule was simple, but it was also extremely cruel. There were 32 fighting rings, and the number of people fighting for each fighting ring was definitely not small. However, in the end, only one person could win each fighting ring. The 32 people who have advanced will fight in pairs. The top 10 will receive a gene of Demon Night Spring as a reward. At the same time, they can also join Magic City Mountain and immediately become the Demon Lord, second only to me. The first place will get 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring. Also, you will have the chance to date my daughter. The Night Demon Lord explained the rules simply. Many people's eyes were burning. To many foreign heavens favorites, becoming the Demon King of Demon Capital Mountain was not attractive at all. To them, the Demon Night Spring was the attractive one. Of course, a beauty like the Night Rose naturally had a strong attraction. Alright, now, let the competition begin. The Night Demon Lord announced. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, figures rushed out towards the 32 fighting rings. There were people on every fighting ring. Get off. This fighting stage is mine. You're the one who should get lost. Kill. All of a sudden, fierce fighting broke out on every fighting ring. Many people started to attack each other. Pfft. Ah. Blood gushed out, and miserable screams rang out. Immediately, someone was killed and fell on the fighting ring. The battle was unusually brutal. However, most of the people who had made their moves at the beginning were the local heavens favorites of Magic City Mountain. Many outsiders had not made their moves yet. After a while, an outsider heavens favorite finally made his move. Get lost. A burly man with a saber in his hand slashed out, and a shocking saber light flashed across the void. 7 or 8 young men were cut by the saber light and immediately died. What a strong cultivation. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. This burly youth's cultivation had shockingly reached the 8th level heavenly deity realm. Furthermore, he was also a divine sun level character. The burly young man charged into the fighting ring. No one was his match. More than a dozen people died in his hands in a row. The others' expressions changed greatly. They knew that the gap between them and this man was too great. They could only leave this fighting ring and attack the other fighting rings. This person's strength was so shocking that the other heavens favorites would naturally not compete with him. They all flew to the other battle stages. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. More and more heavens favorites started to fight. On each fighting ring, the battle was extremely intense. Boom. On the other fighting ring, Wu Shui's body was covered in blood mist. Anyone who was touched by the blood mist would let out a shrill scream and then fall straight on the fighting ring, without any breath. Many people were frightened and kept their distance from the witch's blood. Ha ha ha, what a bunch of trash. I want this fighting ring. Also, I want the night rose. Wuxia laughed loudly. He did not hide his voice, and it spread throughout the entire place. Many of the young men from Magic City Mountain had ugly expressions, but there was nothing they could do. Whoosh! Whoosh! On the other fighting ring, a young man in a black robe was holding a long spear. His combat strength was also extremely amazing, and no one could defeat him. He occupied a fighting ring. Gradually, some terrifying figures appeared on each battle platform. What terrifying strength! Many of these heaven's favorites are not from the Chutian star field. That's right. With such strength, most of them are from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. What's going on? Why are there so many powerful heaven's favorites from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion? In the crowd, a few elders from Magic City Mountain were discussing and were a little surprised. They thought that this time, they would only attract some geniuses from Chutian Starfield. They didn't expect that even geniuses from 9 Absolute Heavenly King Manor would come. It was a little strange. Chapter 2954 Occupying a seat. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Perhaps a misreputation has already spread to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, which is why so many geniuses are here. The elders discussed again and felt that it was very possible. The beauty of the Night Rose was unparalleled. Coupled with the talent that she had displayed in the past few years, it was possible that her cultivation would soar and her reputation would spread far and wide. Lu Ming was listening at the side and was not in a hurry to make a move. Rose, you too. Night Devil King said to Night Rose. All right. Night Rose nodded. She took a step forward and charged towards a fighting ring. Miss Rose, you're going to help too? I won't show any mercy, Miss Qiangwei, you should go down by yourself. I can't bear to attack a beauty like you. The young men teased. However, in the next moment, they could no longer laugh, because they would be left on the fighting stage forever. Because Night Rose had made her move. She stretched out her scallion-like fingers and pointed out continuously. The finger forces were extremely terrifying and directly killed the youths who were teasing her. The others gasped and retreated. The terrifying strength that Night Rose displayed shocked many people. The sorcerer's blood, the burly young man with the saber, and the others all looked surprised. They did not expect the strength of the Night Rose to be so shocking. It's almost time to make a move. Lu Ming stepped out and walked towards one of the fighting rings. There weren't any strong experts on this fighting ring. Thump. As soon as Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring, someone had his eyes on him. A third-level celestial deity also dares to come up. Courting death, kill. A skinny young man shouted coldly and slashed his sword at Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's palm without a sound. Break the air, with a thought, the spear's light burst out. Pfft! The skinny young man's forehead was pierced through and he died on the spot. However, the killing of one person did not cause the others to be alarmed. Instead, a few young men charged towards Lu Ming together. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming shook the long spear and a few more spearlights burst out immediately. Then, these few young men were left in the fighting ring forever. As a result, it attracted the attention of the other young men who were fighting on the fighting stage. This brat is a pain in the ass. Let's join forces and kill him. Alright, let's kill him together. At that moment, at least dozens of other young men on the fighting ring charged toward Lu Ming. You're looking for death. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. His divine power surged wildly and his long spear danced. The spear radiance was as huge as a mountain range and swept in all directions. As the spear radiance crushed over, miserable cries sounded out. In an instant, more than 10 youths were killed. On the fighting ring, the other people's faces changed drastically. They were frightened and retreated hurriedly, not daring to get close to Lu Ming. "Get off the fighting stage!" Lu Ming shouted, his aura was wild. However, while some of the young men rushed down the fighting ring, some of them stood at the edge of the ring, unwilling to give up. At this moment, many of the battle platforms were occupied by terrifying geniuses. If they went down, they wouldn't have a share in the other battle platforms. "If you don't get lost, you'll die." Lu Ming shouted coldly and took a step forward. The fighting ring rumbled and exploded. Lu Ming rushed out, his long spear shaking and a spear ray pierced through. A few more screams were heard, and a few young men were killed. Seeing this, the remaining young men did not dare to stay any longer and rushed down the fighting ring in a hurry. Lu Ming was the only one left on the fighting ring. At this moment, more than half of the 32 fighting platforms had finished their battles. There was a powerful genius on each fighting platform. "Kid, you have some strength." "Huh, that's good." At that moment, Wuxia looked at Lu Ming and laughed with a ferocious look in his eyes. Since Lu Ming had advanced, he would have the chance to kill him. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He could not be bothered with this person and directly ignored him. Being ignored by Lu Ming, the sorcerer's blood's face turned gloomy and murderous intent filled the air. The other fighting rings were still fighting, but soon, the outcome was also decided. All 32 fighting rings had been occupied. So many foreign heavens favorites. Out of the 32 seats, my Magic City Mountain only occupied 2. That's right. At least half of them aren't heaven's favorites from the Chutian star field. I've never heard of them before. He's definitely from the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. On Magic City Mountain, many people were discussing. The Night Demon Lord also looked pensive. No one knew what he was thinking. Alright, now that the top 32 have been determined, we will now proceed with the one-on-one duels. The duels will be conducted by drawing lots. And NBSP, the Night Demon King's voice rang out. Then, with a wave of his hand, the 32 battle platforms in the air began to dance and fly to both sides. Then, another battle platform flew out of the Night Demon King's sleeve. This fighting ring was much larger than all the previous fighting rings. It was suspended in the air and would be the main fighting ring for the next battle. Then, it was time to draw lots. Every fighting ring that Lu Ming and the rest occupied had a number. From number 1 to number 32. For example, the fighting ring that Lu Ming occupied was number 16. The Night Demon Lord would draw lots. The 2 numbers he drew would be used to fight. Number 16, number 28. Night Demon Lord announced after drawing his lot. "I'll be the first one." Lu Ming smiled and flew up to the main fighting ring. However, when he flew up to the main fighting ring, he was stunned. His opponent was the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. "Humph, I admit defeat." The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm could only admit that she was unlucky when she saw Lu Ming. She had already fought with Lu Ming and knew that she was no match for him. She might as well admit defeat. I admit defeat." Some people were surprised that the woman with the snake on her arm had admitted defeat. After all, the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm was a 6th-level heavenly deity at the Divine Sun level. As for Lu Ming, he was only a 3rd-level celestial deity. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm had actually surrendered without a fight. It seems that this kid can't be underestimated. Perhaps he has some terrifying means. The paragons in the other fighting rings thought to themselves and could not help but size Lu Ming up. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm rushed down the fighting ring and admitted defeat. The Night Demon King then kept her fighting ring. Lu Ming returned to the number 16 Colosseum. Then, the competition continued. For example, the burly youth with the saber and the black-robed youth with the spear were both extremely powerful and easily defeated their opponents. In addition, the wizard blood and the night rose were also very powerful, and they crushed their opponents. Of course, there were also some who were on par with each other, and the battle was very intense. There were even people who had to fight for thousands of moves before the victor was decided. After a few days, the first round ended, and the top 16 were born. Then, the second round began. The second round was the same as the first round. It was decided by drawing lots. Many people were nervous and looking forward to it. As long as they passed the second round, they would be able to enter the top 10. Entering the top 10 would give him a gene of Demon Night Spring. This was a huge harvest. Number 16 against number 11. The Night Demon Lord announced. Chapter 2954 Spear Tip Turning into Lightning. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. In the second round, Lu Ming was the first to fight again. In this round, Lu Ming's opponent was a youth in a blood-red robe. He was a peak 6th level celestial deity and the divine energy he controlled was also divine-grade divine energy. This person's strength was even stronger than Sword Dao Wuji and Mo Jui of the Qin Heaven Starfield. Wild Blood Shadow Blade. The blood-robed young man would not admit defeat. However, he had seen the woman with the snake on her arm admit defeat earlier. He did not dare to be careless in the face of Lu Ming. He attacked with a killing move. The saber shadows that filled the sky enveloped Lu Ming, wanting to kill him. However, Lu Ming had directly triggered a fourfold increase in combat power. Boom! The fighting stage shook as the spear radiance shot up into the sky. The blood-red saber shadows that filled the sky instantly fell apart. The blood-robed young man screamed and flew out of the fighting ring while spitting blood. He was defeated in one move. What terrifying battle strength! Many people in the surroundings gasped. Especially the people from Magic City Mountain. They had never seen such a powerful heaven's favorite before, so they were naturally dumbfounded. Even Wuxia and the others became serious. A third-level celestial deity being able to unleash such battle prowess was truly shocking. He's really powerful. In one of the battle rings, Night Rose licked her rosy lips as a fiery light flashed across her eyes, along with a wisp of greed. After Lu Ming won, he returned to the number 16 Colosseum. The competition continued. The burly youth who was holding the battle blade was called Pei Lin. He was an 8th-level celestial deity and had overpowered a 7th-level celestial deity to obtain victory. The black-robed young man who used the spear was called Su Mu. He had also defeated his opponent and won. Soon after, the wizard blood and the night rose also won. Not long after, the top 8 were born. However, in order to select the top 10, they were short of 2 spots, so they had to choose from the 8 people who had just been defeated. Therefore, the 8 people who had been defeated went through another round of competition and finally chose 2 spots for a total of 10 people. This king has said that if you enter the top 10, you will be able to obtain 1 gene of Demon Night Spring. Now, I will give it to you. After saying that, the Night Demon Lord waved his hand, and a jade bottle appeared in front of him. The jade bottle was transparent, almost transparent, and one could see what was inside. There was a black liquid in the jade bottle. Many people's eyes burned with passion when they saw the jade bottle. Inside, it contained the Demon Night Spring. It could nurture and strengthen the soul. It was priceless. Of course, no one dared to make a move. The Night Demon Lord waved his hand and 10 jade bottles flew out, flying toward Lu Ming and the other 3. Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed a jade bottle in his hand, putting it away without a sound. Alright, the competition will continue. It will still be one-on-one duels. The Night Demon Lord announced, and then began to draw lots. Number 1, number 6. The Night Demon Lord announced. This time, Lu Ming was not the first to appear. Number 1, Pei Lin. Number 6 was a 7th level celestial deity expert. The two of them had a huge battle, but Pei Lin's cultivation was higher and he won. Number 16, number 2. The Night Demon Lord announced. It was Lu Ming's turn. Lu Ming moved and flew up to the main fighting ring. With a flash, a black-robed young man also jumped onto the fighting ring. It's him. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The black-robed young man was the one who used the long spear. His name was Su Mu. You and I both use long spears. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too weak. You are not my opponent. Su Mu was very confident. He indeed had the capital to be confident. His cultivation was at the peak of the 7th level celestial deity realm, but his combat strength was exceptionally powerful. Even prodigies of the same level as him were not his match. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 3rd level celestial deity realm. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he could still defeat him. It's too early to say that. We'll only know after the battle. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then I'll fulfill your wish, lightning spear divine art. Su Mu shouted, and a violent aura burst out from his body. Whoosh! A dazzling spear's gleam turned into a bolt of black lightning and shot toward Lu Ming. It was so fast that it was not slower than lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming made his move. He activated his fourfold combat strength and used the air-piercing move. A ray of spear light pierced towards the other party like a meteor. Ding! Ding! The fighting ring was like a shooting star and a black lightning bolt. They collided with each other, creating an ear-piercing boom. Then, a strong wind swept across the fighting ring. The spear's radiance burst out in all directions. The entire fighting ring was filled with colorful spear radiance. Buzz! Before the spear radiance had dissipated, the two figures retreated at the same time. The difference was that Su Mu had only retreated about 100 meters before he stopped, while Lu Ming had retreated a few kilometers. Moreover, the battle platform was large enough, with a radius of 100 miles. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have withdrawn from the battle platform. You want to fight me with this little strength? Get lost. Die. Su Mu shouted. His body seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Then, black lightning bolts shot toward Lu Ming from the fighting ring. There were a total of 108 black lightning bolts, all of which were formed by Su Mu's spear light. The spear's light transformed into black lightning. How amazing! Lu Ming's heart stirred. This was the first time Lu Ming had seen such a way of using a gun. The world was full of wonders. And NBSP, it seems like I can only use the ancient god body. Xiaofan muttered. Lu Ming pondered and then cast the ancient god tactic. An ancient god's roar was heard and Lu Ming transformed into his ancient god body. However, he had only turned into an orange-armored ancient god. The orange-armored ancient god was more than enough to deal with Su Mu. That's the ancient god body. Lu Ming was recognized as soon as he used his ancient god body. And NBSP, this kid has actually cultivated the ancient god body. Wu Shui's eyes narrowed. Lu Ming's ability was stronger than he had imagined. However, he was still confident that he could defeat Lu Ming. It would just take a little more effort. Break the air, break the air. After transforming into the ancient god body, Lu Ming continued to use the sky-breaking move. Rays of spear light burst out and headed toward Su Mu, colliding with the 108 black lightning bolts in the sky. Clang! Clang! Like a needle against an awn, the sound of collision rang out in the fighting ring, and sparks flew in all directions. However, after Lu Ming transformed into an ancient god body, his combat strength soared and he had completely surpassed Su Mu. After each collision, a black lightning bolt would collapse and disappear on the fighting ring. The number of black lightning bolts on the fighting ring was decreasing. 107, 106. The speed at which it was decreasing was shocking. After a while, there was only one black lightning left on the fighting ring. Moon slaying, die. Lu Ming bellowed as he swung his long spear down. A crescent-shaped spear radiance slashed at the black lightning. Boom! The black lightning exploded, and Su Mu's figure reappeared. His face was pale, and he spat out a mouthful of blood as his body was sent flying. Bang! Lu Ming stomped on the ground and his huge body chased after Su Mu. Chapter 2956 Battle Witch's Blood. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron. I admit defeat. Seeing Lu Ming chasing after him, Su Mu roared and quickly admitted defeat. Even his strongest ultimate move had been broken by Lu Ming and he was severely injured. How could he dare to continue fighting? If he continued, he would only be abused. Hearing that Su Mu had admitted defeat, Lu Ming did not continue to pursue him. He had no enmity with Su Mu, so all he had to do was defeat him. Su Mu landed on the fighting stage and cupped his fists, many thanks. Third-level celestial deity actually has such powerful strength. Admirable. After saying that, Su Mu's figure flashed and he rushed down the fighting stage. Lu Ming had won this battle. This kid's battle strength is truly astonishing. Lu Ming had defeated Su Mu, causing Pei Lin and the rest to look solemn. The duel continued. The people who were going to fight next were all people with high cultivation and shocking strength. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. After leaving the Qin Heaven Star Zone and entering the Chu Heaven Star Zone, it seemed that the geniuses he met all controlled divine-grade divine energy. It was as if divine-grade divine power had become the standard of whether or not one was a heaven's favorite. Sacred-grade divine power was simply not enough. The intense battle went on for 3 days. In the end, Pei Lin, Sorcerer Blood, Night Rose, a bald young man, and Lu Ming made it into the top 5. After that, it was the battle between the top 5. In this battle, Night Devil King announced that Night Rose would not get a bye. It would be a battle between Lu Ming, Pei Lin, Wuxia, and the bald young man. The others had no objections. The goal of those who had made it this far was to be first. Therefore, it didn't matter who got a bye. The first round, Lu Ming, Pei Lin. The Night Demon Lord announced. Lu Ming and Pei Lin leaped onto the fighting ring. The two of them didn't waste any words and immediately started fighting. Pei Lin's strength was very strong, even stronger than Su Mu. He had reached the 8th level heavenly god realm. This time, Lu Ming had to transform into a green-armored ancient god to defeat Pei Lin. Damn it, how could this kid's strength be so amazing? He didn't even use his full strength when he was fighting Su Mu. Among all the people present, the one who was the most annoyed was the Witch Blood. Previously, he had declared that he would kill Lu Ming. However, he was less and less confident now. Then, the Sorcerer's Blood fought against the bald young man. The battle between the two was very strange. The Sorcerer's Blood emitted a bloody mist that covered the fighting ring. The bald young man seemed to be unable to exert his full strength at all. He could only exert 60 to 70% of his full strength. He was easily defeated by the Sorcerer's Blood. Kid, it's your turn next. After the Witch's Blood defeated the bald young man, it shot Lu Ming a provocative look. It also attacks the soul? Lu Ming muttered, the corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Obviously, the way the Witch Blood attacked was very similar to that of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. it could also directly attack the soul. Therefore, his opponent could not exert 100% of his strength. However, Lu Ming was not afraid of such an attack at all because he had the measure formula. With that, the top 3 would be decided. Next, the Night Rose will still have a bye. Lu Ming and the Witch Blood will fight. The winner will be able to challenge the Night Rose. After defeating the Night Rose, he will be the champion of this great battle in Magic City. If he can date my daughter, he will also be able to get 10 pounds of Demon Night Spring. The Night Demon Lord announced. This made many people jealous. 10 caddies of Demon Night Spring, and he could still get a stunner like the Night Rose. It would be strange if he wasn't jealous. Especially some young men, who kept glancing at the sensitive parts of the Night Rose. Their bodies were hot, and some parts of their bodies were already restless. He had no choice, the Night Rose was too tempting. Kid, come. Wuxia rushed up to the fighting ring and looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious look. As you wish. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and leaped onto the fighting ring, appearing to be at ease. Boom! The moment Lu Ming leaped onto the fighting ring, the sorcerer's blood was used. Wuxia's entire body turned as red as blood. Blood-red mist kept spurting out of the pores of his body. Suddenly, the entire fighting ring was shrouded in the blood-red mist. Unable to avoid it, Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood-red mist. The blood-red mist seemed to have a mind of its own as it rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his divine energy. 10 types of divine energy enveloped his body to resist the blood-red mist. Chi. The blood-red mist was very similar to the mist of the woman with the snake wrapped in her arm. Lu Ming used 10 types of divine powers to block it, but he could not block much. Most of the mist rushed into Lu Ming's body and rushed toward his soul in his sea of consciousness. Leave it to me, the sound of the quantity formula rang out, and a devouring power erupted, devouring all the mist. As for Lu Ming, he just stood there, not moving. Junior sister Lien said that this kid is extremely strange. The divine qi seems to be ineffective on him, but I don't believe it. It's not effective at all. Maybe junior sister's cultivation is too low. Continue. Wuxia roared in his heart and madly circulated his divine power. His divine power was transformed into refined divine qi through a special cultivation technique and gushed out continuously. The mist on the fighting ring became thicker and thicker, until it was almost pitch black. At this moment, Lu Ming's body swayed, as if he could not take it anymore. This brat is finally unable to hold on. The sorcerer's blood was overjoyed. He shook his arms, and the 2 large snakes on his arms slithered toward Lu Ming silently. As they neared Lu Ming, the 2 giant snakes suddenly expanded and turned into 2 giant pythons. They pounced at Lu Ming and spat out 2 streams of poisonous gas. Before the poisonous gas arrived, a nauseating smell filled the air. I've been waiting. Lu Ming's eyes lit up and the corners of his lips curled into a cold smile. With a thought, 9 ice chains flew out from his body. A bone-piercing chill filled the air, and layers of ice crystals appeared in the air. The poisonous gas spewed out by the 2 pythons was also frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 ice chains wrapped around the 2 giant pythons, and the coldness seeped into the bodies of the giant pythons, freezing them. The 2 giant pythons writhed and struggled crazily. Not good. Wuxia's expression changed drastically. He took a step forward and pounced toward Lu Ming. Roar! At that moment, Lu Ming let out a loud roar and transformed into his ancient god body. However, Lu Ming still held back and only transformed into a green-armored ancient god. Buzz! The long spear vibrated and swept out, sweeping across the bodies of the 2 giant pythons. The 2 giant pythons screamed in pain and their bodies exploded, dying on the spot. Ah, Damn it, I want you to die. Wuxia roared and waved his hands. The mist on the fighting ring rolled up crazily and turned into two evil ghosts, which charged at Lu Ming. However, this kind of fog was completely useless against Lu Ming. He ignored the fog and waved his spear at the witch's blood. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's long spear struck out. Blood-red palm. Wuxia had also used his ultimate move. His body turned even redder, and it seemed as if blood was flowing on the surface of his skin. Chapter 2957 Night Rose. Please continue reading on Oxville. M. However, even though the sorcerer's blood was an 8th-level celestial deity and an existence that could control divine-grade divine power, its attack power mainly came from the blood-colored mist, which was his true trump card. His frontal attack was not very strong. His most powerful trump card was useless, and the strength of his witch blood was even lower than Su Mu's. Bang! Lu Ming's long spear collided with the bloody palm. The bloody palm could only resist for 2 breaths before it exploded. The spear's radiance did not stop and bombarded the body of the sorcerer's blood. Wuxia let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying backward. He crashed heavily into the fighting ring and slid for hundreds of miles before flying out of the fighting ring. The witch's blood was defeated. To Lu Ming, it was much easier to defeat the sorcerer's blood. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated the witch blood. The next match would be against the Dark Rose. As long as he defeated the Dark Rose, Lu Ming would be able to get first place and even win the beauty. A gust of fragrant wind blew. Night Rose's figure floated and landed in front of Lu Ming. Night Rose was not wearing much. Her skin was as white as jade, not fat or thin, and full of elasticity. In addition to her beautiful face, she was even more alluring. Her eyes were like silk as she swept her gaze across Lu Ming's body, looking very satisfied. However, for some reason, Lu Ming's body tensed up involuntarily when the Dark Rose sized him up like that, as if he was facing a terrifying enemy. What's going on? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body actually reacted instinctively. It was a reaction in the face of danger. The Night Rose gave him a terrible sense of danger. Clearly, Night Rose did not reveal the slightest killing intent. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he did not show it on his face. He cupped his fists and said, "Please enlighten me, young lady." I admit defeat." Just when everyone thought that the two of them were going to have a fierce battle, Night Rose's voice was heard. "What?" Everyone was stunned. Before the battle even started, Night Rose had already admitted defeat. What was going on? Could it be that Night Rose saw Lu Ming's abilities and knew that she was no match for him? That's why she admitted defeat? Someone guessed. I don't think that's right. The abilities that Night Rose displayed previously are simply unfathomable. She might be able to fight with Lu Ming. Why would she admit defeat without fighting? I think that he has taken a fancy to that kid. Hence, he might as well admit defeat without fighting. Someone immediately retorted, causing many people to be stunned. Don't tell me you've really taken a fancy to me? Sigh, it seems that being handsome is also a kind of trouble. Lu Ming was also mumbling in his heart. Ha ha ha, all right. Since Rose has admitted defeat, I shall announce that the champion of this competition is Lu Ming. The Night Demon Lord stood up and announced with a laugh. I'm so envious. Countless people cast envious and jealous gazes at Lu Ming. Humph. Wuxia snorted coldly. He was extremely displeased. He glared at Lu Ming, his killing intent constantly flashing. And NBSP at this time, the Night Demon King took out another jade bottle. This jade bottle was much larger than the previous one, and it also contained the Demon Night Spring. Lu Ming, this is 5 kilograms of Demon Night Spring. It's your reward. With a wave of his hand, Mo Yechuan flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out to take it and kept it in his storage ring. Lu Ming, let me ask you a question. Since you've come in first, are you willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord of Magic City Mountain? The Night Demon Lord asked. I'm willing. Lu Ming did not hesitate and nodded in agreement. You agree? The Night Demon Lord was slightly stunned. He did not expect Lu Ming to agree so readily. Yes, I agree. As Lu Ming spoke, his eyes could not help but sweep towards the Night Rose, as if he was reluctant to leave. So that was how it was. Many people nodded. They were well aware that Lu Ming had agreed without any hesitation because he was smitten by the Night Rose. Indeed, how many men could resist the temptation of a bewitching vixen like the Night Rose? The Night Demon Lord thought the same, and he was overjoyed. Then, the Night Demon King asked the other people in the top 10 if they were willing to join Magic City Mountain and become the Demon Lord. However, all he got was a shake of the head. The Night Demon King was slightly disappointed, but he understood that most of these heaven's favorites were from some major forces. A Demon Lord position was not enough to move them. Unless there was the temptation of the Night Rose. Alright, the great battle in Demonic City has ended. Next, I will hold a banquet. Everyone can enjoy to their heart's content. We won't leave until we're drunk. The Night Demon Lord announced. Then, the fighting stage was removed, and a large number of beautiful women flew out and began to set up the banquet in the open space. After 3 rounds of wine, the crowd dispersed. Lu Ming, you can move into the City Lord's mansion in the future. The Night Rose walked leisurely to Lu Ming's side. A fragrance assailed Lu Ming's nose. All right. Lu Ming naturally agreed. The purpose of his visit was to investigate the Dark Ice Clan's collusion with the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. The Ice Soul Clan's patriarch suspected that Magic Capital Mountain was very likely an informer of a major force in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, who was specifically working with the Dark Ice Clan. Therefore, the best way to find out the truth was to enter the City Lord's mansion. Besides, it was also the best choice to enter the City Lord's mansion since Qiu Yu and the rest were locked up there. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted, so there was no reason for him to refuse. That night, Lu Ming moved into the City Lord's residence. Many people were envious of him. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Young Master Lu Ming, the young lady would like to see you. On the evening of the 3rd day, a maidservant came to invite Lu Ming. Maidservant, of course, it was Night Rose's maidservant. He's finally looking for me. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. For the past 2 days, the Night Rose did not come to look for Lu Ming. Now, they had finally come. For the past 2 days, Lu Ming did not take the initiative to look for the Night Rose because he always felt a sense of danger from the Night Rose. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, Bone Demon wasn't here, or he would have asked for his help. As for the measure formula and the battle formula, although they had lived for countless years, they did not know much. Alright, let's go. Since Night Rose had taken the initiative to invite him, Lu Ming had no reason to reject her. He could take the opportunity to gather some information. He followed the servant girl and walked around before arriving at a courtyard. In the courtyard, there was a small bridge with flowing water and the fragrance of flowers. It was very elegant. A pavilion was built on a small river. There were stone tables and stools in the pavilion. Some food and wine were already placed on the table. The sun had already set. In the pavilion, there were a few lit candles. The candlelight flickered and the light was dim. Brother Lu, please. Night Rose stood up to welcome him. Chapter 2958, please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Today, Night Rose had changed her clothes and was even more alluring. What happened next was completely beyond Lu Ming's expectations. The Night Rose actually used all means to seduce Lu Ming, as if they wanted to rape him on the spot. Fortunately, Lu Ming was mentally strong and managed to resist the temptation. That was because Lu Ming instinctively felt a deep sense of danger from the Night Rose. This sense of danger caused his mind to tremble. Lu Ming felt that the Night Rose seemed to want to eat him. Therefore, Lu Ming calmed down. "Lu Ming, can you not leave tonight?" After her actions were ineffective against Lu Ming, Night Rose spoke again. Even a fool could understand what she meant. Any normal man would not be able to resist such temptation. However, Lu Ming had completely calmed down. He felt that the sense of danger coming from the Dark Rose was getting stronger and stronger. He had a feeling that if he couldn't resist the temptation and really had sex with the Night Rose, he would probably die. Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly as he thought of a countermeasure. Night Rose's small hands were already moving around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the small hand of the Night Rose. He gritted his teeth and put on an expression as if he was resisting the temptation. "Miss Qiangwei, Lu Ming has never experienced such a thing. Moreover, we don't know much about it. It's not very good to do such a thing." "What's not good about it?" "You can slowly understand it in the future." The Night Rose smiled faintly. Her breath was like orchids and a fragrance rushed into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming's heart beat faster. "No, there's poison in this fragrance." Lu Ming was greatly shocked. He finally sensed that there was poison in the fragrance. This poison could stimulate the burning desire in one's body. It was no wonder that even with Lu Ming's mental fortitude, he could not remain calm. This Night Rose is indeed up to no good. Could it be that she's cultivating some kind of evil technique that absorbs yang to supplement yin? Lu Ming's mind was racing. He guessed that Night Rose had cultivated some kind of evil art and had taken a fancy to his talent, so she wanted to use this evil art on him. "Old Liang, I'll leave it to you." Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. Immediately, the quantity formula emitted an attractive force and absorbed the poison. Lu Ming calmed down completely. Lu Ming circulated his divine power and shook it slightly. He pushed the Dark Rose away and moved to a stone bench at the side. "Miss Rose, I'm a traditional person. Before I fully understand it, I will not have sex with any woman. Please forgive me," Lu Ming said, putting on the look of a gentleman. This fellow, Night Rose secretly gritted her teeth and secretly despised him in her heart. She didn't expect that he would still have such stubborn thoughts. Forcing out a smile, Dark Rose said, "Brother Lu, please don't misunderstand me. I was just testing you. Brother Lu, you're indeed a gentleman. I'm impressed. Come on, let's continue drinking." "Pa." Lu Ming felt contempt in his heart. Testing? If Lu Ming had not resisted the temptation just now, he would have lost his virginity. "Come, drink." Naturally, Lu Ming would not show it on his face. He picked up his glass and drank with Dark Rose. Next, it was time to chat. "By the way, Miss Rose, I heard that there's a group of demon slaves in Magic City. I wonder where they're being held?" Lu Ming asked calmly while drinking. "Demon slave? They're all locked up in the Colosseum." After being rejected by Lu Ming, Night Rose seemed to be a little absent-minded. She answered casually and did not think much about it. "Animal arena? Beast fighting?" Lu Ming's heart was filled with cold killing intent, but he did not show it on his face. Lu Ming controlled his temper and drank a few more glasses. He then found an excuse to leave. "Then I won't be sending you off, Rose," said Night Rose with a smile. "No need to send me off," Lu Ming said and then left the place. After watching Lu Ming leave, a ferocious look appeared on Night Rose's face. Her eyes were filled with greed. A third-level celestial deity actually has such terrifying combat strength. It's extremely rare. Furthermore, I can feel an incomparably exuberant life force. I must obtain it, I must obtain it. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape from me. He he he. The Night Rose let out a sharp laugh, which was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming left the mansion of the Night Rose. He did not return to his room but left the city lord's mansion directly. He asked someone for the location of the animal arena and headed there directly. His heart was burning with anxiety. He didn't know how Qiu Yu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong were doing after so many days. If anything happened to them, Lu Ming would flatten Magic City Mountain. The Colosseum was huge and was not far from the city lord's mansion. It was a huge building. When Lu Ming neared the Colosseum, he heard a deafening roar coming from the Colosseum. Lu Ming walked toward the main entrance of the animal arena. There were guards at the entrance of the Colosseum, blocking Lu Ming. The entrance fee is 1,000 mid-grade god crystals. One of the burly men said coldly. Lu Ming gave him 1,000 mid-grade divine crystals and walked into the Colosseum. As they walked into the Colosseum, the cheers became even more intense, wave after wave. Chapter 2958 Demonic Slave. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. The Colosseum was circular in shape, and there was a huge fighting stage in the middle. There were seats all around the fighting ring. At this moment, 90% of the seats were occupied by people of all kinds. Roar! At this moment, a huge battle was taking place in the middle of the fighting ring. An expert from the Serpent Men race was currently engaged in an intense battle with a desolate beast. The Serpent Men experts were first-level celestial deities, and that desolate beast was also first-level celestial deity. The two of them were at the same cultivation level, and the battle was extremely brutal. However, that desolate beast was clearly more ferocious. It was not afraid of death and it roared continuously as it pounced towards the Serpent Men expert. The Serpent Men experts were gradually losing and were forced to retreat. Roar! In the end, the desolate beast went crazy. It risked its own injuries and tore the Serpent Men expert into pieces, causing blood to splatter all over the ground. Alright. Good kill, it's exciting. At the scene, there was another wave of cheers. Countless people were shouting excitedly. Men, clean up. Immediately, someone came to the fighting ring and cleaned up the corpses of the human-snake hybrid clan and wiped the blood stains. The injured dire beast was also brought down. Following that, another battle broke out. The target of the battle was a burly human, and on the other side, it was still a desolate beast. It's time to bet, it's time to start betting. Both sides have peak stage 9 true god cultivation. Which side are you betting on? An old man stood in the air above the fighting ring, and his voice spread throughout the entire arena. I think the desolate beast is stronger. I'll bet 10,000 mid-grade divine crystals on the desolate beast. No, I think that human warrior's blood chi is surging and full of killing intent. I think he'll be stronger. I bet 20,000 divine crystals on the human warrior. Many people began to place their bets. However, it was very simple for them to place their bets. Many of them had something like an array card in their hands. They would enter the amount of money they had bet on and who they wanted to bet on. When they left this place, they would calculate the results. The Colosseum was organized by the Night Demon King, and no one dared to renege on their debt. The bets were placed and the battle began. The burly human and the wild beast were engaged in a fierce battle. Both of them were at peak stage 9 true god realm. However, the moment they attacked, the burly human had the upper hand. The human's attack was decisive, and one could tell with a single glance that he was someone who had experienced hundreds of battles. His attack power was very powerful. From the start, he was suppressing the desolate beast. I'm winning, I'm winning. Those who bet on the human race were overjoyed, while those who bet on the wild beast sighed. Kill. After fighting the wild beast for dozens of moves, the burly human roared and slashed out, beheading the wild beast. The burly human won. Men, clean up. In the sky above the fighting ring, the old man ordered again. Wait a moment. At this moment, a silver-robed young man stood up from his seat and stepped out in the air. It's Wan Xing. That human is finished. That's right. I think Wan Xing has bet wrongly again. He bet on the desolate beast. Every time he bets wrongly, he will be in a bad mood. Once he is in a bad mood, he will kill someone. Shush, lower your voice. He's the son of the Devil Lord. Many people started whispering to each other when they saw the young man. They seemed to be very afraid of him. Demon Master was a name for the demon capital. Under the Night Demon King, there were 9 demon masters. Each demon master's cultivation was extremely profound, surpassing the 9th level celestial deity. They were all half-step divine kings. In the heavenly god realm, if one wanted to break through to the god-king realm, one must first form a star core. Only when a star core was successfully formed could one be considered a true god-king. However, the star core was not something that could be condensed just because one wanted to. There was a transition in the process of condensing the star core. During this process, the star core would not be completely condensed. However, it was also the process of transforming from divine fire to the star core. This was the transition from a heavenly god to a god-king. It was the transition to the half-step god-king realm. The strength of a half-step divine king was inferior to a true divine king, but it was also a great deal stronger than ordinary 9th level celestial deity. The 9 demon masters under the Dark Night Demon King were such existences. Wan Xing was the only son of one of the demon masters. In Demonic City, he was naturally a character who could do whatever he wanted. Young Master Wan. The old man in the air saluted Wan Xing. You made me lose money. You deserve to die. Kill. Kill. Wan Xing shouted coldly and charged at the human. What? The human was shocked. He roared and blocked with all his might. However, Wan Xing's cultivation base was at the first level of the heavenly deity realm. Although the burly human was strong, he was still a long way off from Wan Xing Puchi. Blood splattered in all directions as the burly human was slain by Wan Xing with a single sword strike. After killing the burly human, Wan Xing snorted coldly and returned to his seat. The old man in the air didn't even dare to let out a fart. After all, Wan Xing's father, the Lord of all demons, was sitting in the Colosseum. Whoever dared to say anything about Wan Xing would be courting death. Moreover, it was just a mere demonic slave. There were plenty of them, so it was not worth offending Wan Xing. Someone immediately cleaned up the fighting ring. Alright, the next demonic slave to fight is a new one. He's very young and I heard that he's quite strong. Everyone, make your bets. In the air, the old man spoke again. Then, he waved his hand, and the door at the side of the fighting ring opened. Roar! The roar of a wild beast came from one of the doors, and a huge creature walked out. This was a huge bull with the cultivation of Tier 8 True God. A young man stepped out of the other door. Wu Zifeng. At the sight of this figure, Lu Ming's heart trembled. The figure was Wu Zifeng. After not seeing him for a while, Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard. It was obvious that he had suffered a lot during this time. Damn it, are these demon slaves? The killing intent in Lu Ming's heart was extremely strong. At the thought of Qiu Yu fighting with dire beasts in such an environment for others to watch, Lu Ming could not wait to flatten Magic City Mountain. Let's start the bet. This young man has the cultivation of stage 7 true god and the desolate beast is at stage 8 true god. The old man shouted from the sky. Stage 7 true god versus stage 8 true god. Could this young man be a heaven's favorite? Many people began to discuss how to place their bets. Humph, what a fool. Look at him, he's just a pretty boy. What kind of genius is he? I'll bet on the wild beast. Wan Xing snorted coldly, betting on the desolate beast's victory. Although Wu Zifeng looked a lot more haggard, he still couldn't hide his handsomeness. On the other hand, Wan Xing looked ordinary. When he looked at Wu Zifeng, he couldn't help but be jealous. This kid is doomed. Many people thought to themselves and shook their heads. Wan Xing had bet on the wild beast's victory. If the wild beast really won, then Wu Zifeng must have died at the hands of the demonic beast. If Wu Zifeng won and caused Wan Xing to lose money, looking at Wan Xing's appearance, he would probably not let Wu Zifeng off. No matter what, Wu Zifeng had to die. Very quickly, the bets were placed and the battle began. Buzz! The giant bull roared and charged at Wu Zifeng. Its huge body shook the fighting ring. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. I want to level Magic City Mountain. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Many people watched nervously, wanting to see how Wu Zifeng, with his cultivation at the 7th stage of True God, would deal with a desolate beast at the 8th stage of True God. Just as the giant bull was about to rush to Wu Zifeng, moved. His figure flashed and he dodged the giant bull's attack. Then, a sword light cut through the wind from his hand and slashed at the giant bull. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Poochie. A long wound appeared on the giant cow's body. It went straight through its bones and blood flowed out. Roar! The giant bull screamed, but its bestial nature was also stimulated. It twisted its body and rushed toward Wu Zifeng again. Its 2 horns glowed and burst out 2 rays of light as sharp as divine knives. However, a sword radiance burst forth from Wu Zifeng's palm and collided with the giant bull's attack. Bang! Bang! The giant bull's attack was sent flying by Wu Zifeng. He stepped forward and slashed again. The sword was aimed at the giant bull's neck. Pfft! Blood splattered everywhere. The giant cow's head was directly cut off by Wu Zifeng's sword. Wu Zifeng only used 2 moves to kill the giant bull, which was 1 level higher than him. This result was within Lu Ming's expectations. In fact, with Wu Zifeng's strength, if he used his full strength, he could probably kill the giant bull in 1 move. So powerful. Huh, I won. The scene was in an uproar. Many people who had bet on Wu Zifeng's victory were overjoyed. As for those who bet on the desolate beast winning, they had ugly expressions. The ugliest one was Wan Xing. Today, he had failed to win again and again, so he was in an extremely bad mood. You're looking for death, die. Wan Xing shouted angrily. His body burst out of his seat and rushed toward the fighting ring. Young Master Wan, wait a moment, the old man in the air quickly called out. If you have a fart, then quickly spit it out. Wan Xing impatiently shouted. Young Master Wan, this man is extremely talented. We can't kill him. He might be useful if we keep him alive. The old man advised. With Wu Zifeng's strength, if he was properly trained, he might become a sharp blade of Magic City Mountain. What can't be killed? I'm telling you, there's no one here that I can't kill. What's a little bit of talent to me? Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll kill you too. Wan Xing coldly shouted, his killing intent was cold. The old man's expression was unsightly, and he helplessly retreated. "Brat, I'll send you on your way." Wan Xing stared at Wu Zifeng with a cold gaze. "If you dare to touch me, I'll definitely destroy Magic City Mountain if I don't die," Wu Zifeng said. He was the Wu family's young master, and yet he had actually fallen into such a situation. He was also holding a breath in his heart. "You still want to destroy my Magic City Mountain? I'll destroy you now." Wan Xing shouted and was about to charge towards Wu Zijin. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Wan Xing and blocked him. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. He originally wanted to wait until he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong before he made his move, but now, he had no choice but to do so. "Kid, who are you? Get lost." Wan Xing was furious when he saw that someone dared to stand in front of him. "Get lost," Lu Ming said coldly. "What?" Wan Xing was stunned, and then he became furious. In this Colosseum, there was actually someone who dared to tell him to get lost. He was courting death, simply courting death. "Little bastard, I'll kill you." Wan Xing bellowed angrily and attacked Lu Ming with his palm. However, Lu Ming waved his hand. "Pa!" A crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire area. Wan Xing was vulnerable in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming easily dispersed his attack and slapped him in the face. Wan Xing spun 81 times in the air. His face was as swollen as a pig's head. He looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded expression. He only reacted after a long while. Wan Xing screamed. "Buzz! Buzz! Buzz!" Instantly, figures flew out from all directions of the arena. There were men and women among these figures. All of them were wearing iron armor and they surrounded Lu Ming. "Brat, you dare to hit young Master Wan? I think you're tired of living. Kneel down and surrender." One of the burly men strode forward and slapped Lu Ming. This person's cultivation was at the 4th level celestial deity realm and he thought that he was more than enough to take down Lu Ming. "Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and Lady Yu? Where are you? Are you alright?" At that moment, Lu Ming was communicating quickly with Wu Zifeng. "They're all fine. They've been locked up in this Colosseum. As long as we break through this Colosseum, we can save them." Wu Zifeng quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. "Very good." Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold killing intent. "You brought this on yourself, you can't live, kill." Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw a punch. A 9-clawed divine dragon emerged and charged toward the burly man. That 4th level celestial deity burly man didn't even let out a miserable cry before his body exploded, his soul scattering. The others were stunned. "You dare to kill a Magic City guard? How audacious! Let's attack together." There were at least dozens of Shanghai guards in the surroundings. They roared at the same time. Divine power of various colors surged wildly and launched an attack on Lu Ming. The demonic city guards were the guards of the demonic city, and they were much stronger than the general demon guards of the general demon city. Even the weakest of the magic city guards was at the 3rd level of the celestial deity realm. Dozens of demonic city guards at the 3rd level of heavenly deity realm and above attacked together, causing the weather to change. "Today, I'll raise the beast arena to the ground." Lu Ming let out a long howl and cast the divine dragon materialization art. 6 9-clawed divine dragons roared and pounced at everyone. Each of them was 10,000 meters long. Although these demonic city guards were strong, they were far inferior to Lu Ming. The 9-clawed divine dragon Dharma Laksana pounced and all the attacks aimed at him were instantly destroyed. The 9-clawed divine dragon did not stop, its sharp claws constantly stepping out. "Ah! Ah!" Miserable shrieks were heard continuously. A magic city guard was torn apart by the nine-clawed divine dragon and died on the spot every second. At this moment, the spectators around the Colosseum were all dumbfounded. They didn't think that someone would actually dare to cause trouble here. Furthermore, he was killing in all directions, even killing so many Shanghai guards. This was a huge matter. I'm afraid that the entire magic city will be in a riot. As for Wan Xing himself, he was so scared that his face turned pale and his body trembled. Every guard here was stronger than him, but they were all killed one after another. Young Master Wan, quickly retreat. The old man who was in charge of the animal arena brought Wan Xing and retreated to the stands. You dare to cause trouble here, you're looking for death. Demonic city guards, move out and kill the invader. The entire Colosseum was alarmed. The doors on all sides of the fighting ring opened, and figures flew out from them. Powerful auras rose up. Shanghai guards. They were all Shanghai guards, and there were more than 500 of them. Among them, some people's auras were extremely robust. They were all existences that surpassed 7th-level celestial deity. The great army of the Magic City Guards that was guarding the Colosseum had arrived. This was a terrifying force. No one on Magic City Mountain could rival it. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2961 Chaos. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Very good, you dare to kill a Magic City guard in the animal arena. Today, no one can save you. A cold voice resounded in the air above the Colosseum. Then, a silver light flashed and a middle-aged man in silver robes appeared in the air. Father. When he saw the silver-robed middle-aged man, he was overjoyed. This middle-aged man was one of the 9 great demon masters of the demon capital, Wan Xing's father, Wan Er. Father, quick, kill this brat. No, I want this brat to suffer. Fate worse than death, Wan Xing roared. Don't worry. In my hands, he won't die so easily even if he wants to. Attack and cripple his cultivation first. 10,000 Evil's cold voice sounded. Demon Master, leave this brat to me. A burly man in iron armor asked. Go. Evil nodded. This armored man had a cultivation base of 9th-level celestial deity. It was more than enough to deal with Lu Ming, who was only a 3rd-level celestial deity. Boom! The armored man took a step forward, and a violent aura broke out of his body, as thick as a mountain. Brat, I'll break your right arm first. A long spear appeared in the armored man's hand. It was extremely sharp. As soon as he finished speaking, the armored man rushed toward Lu Ming. He swung his spear at Lu Ming's right hand. Although he was burly, his speed was astonishing. 9th-level heavenly deity? Lu Ming muttered and directly activated the battle character formula, increasing his combat strength by 4 times. The 4-fold increase in combat strength was triggered. Lu Ming's combat strength soared and he kept swinging his fists. And NBSP roar roar roar. The roars of the dragons resounded through the sky as the 6 9-clawed divine dragons pounced toward the armored man. Break! The iron-armored man shouted coldly. His spear vibrated and he instantly launched dozens of attacks at the 6 9-clawed divine dragons. Boom! Boom! The spear struck the 9-clawed divine dragon's claw and burst into a dazzling light. However, the result was not what the armored man had expected. He initially thought he could defeat the 9-clawed divine dragon in an instant, but the truth was that his body was numbed by the impact and he almost fell back. How is that possible? How can this force be so powerful? The armored man was shocked. Roar! At this moment, another dragon's roar was heard. It turned out that Lu Ming had pushed the divine dragon phenomenon art to its limit and had made another breakthrough. He could now condense 7 divine dragon images at once. The 7th divine dragon image then pounced at the armored man. The armored man could not resist it and was pushed back. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Ming cast the ice chain. The 9th and most powerful ice chain flew out and wrapped around the armored man. A layer of ice armor appeared on the armored man's body with a shocking chill. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed out, his palm like a knife, and with a slash, the armored man's right hand was cut off. The armored man wanted to cut off Lu Ming's right hand. However, after exchanging a few moves, his right hand was cut off by Lu Ming. At the scene, the others were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Lu Ming was only a 3rd-level celestial deity, but he had defeated a 9th-level celestial deity in a few moves. This was simply unbelievable. Wan Xing was so scared that his face turned pale. All Evil's eyes were also filled with shock. Demon Lord, save me! At this moment, the armored man was terrified and shouted for help. If you want to cripple me, you must be prepared to be killed by me. Lu Ming said coldly. He condensed a combat sword with divine power in his hand. Brat, you dare, 10,000 evils shouted. Laughable. Lu Ming sneered. He swung his combat sword and killed the armored man. A 9th-level celestial deity existence was a peak expert in Magic City Mountain, but he was killed just like that. You're looking for death. 10,000 Evil was furious, and a violent aura rushed out of his body. Boom! The body of all evil glowed with silver light as a terrifying pressure spread in all directions. The aura of all evil was much stronger than that of the armored man. This was the aura of a half-step divine king. His divine power was strong and shocking. Brat, I'm going to crush you. Silver claw hand. Evil bellowed and his entire body turned silver. His claws were like metal as he clawed at Lu Ming. The force whistled. Before it reached Lu Ming, the force was so oppressive that he had difficulty breathing. Lu Ming's gaze also froze. A half-step divine king was indeed much stronger than a 9th-level heavenly god. Ancient god tactic. Without hesitation, Lu Ming used the ancient god tactic at full force and turned into a green-armored ancient god. Break the sky. Transforming into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. Boom! The dazzling spear radiance and the evil silver claw collided with each other, creating a terrifying explosion. At the same time, countless tiny spear radiances and chi flew out in all directions. Not good, let's go. Ah, let's go. Countless people in the surrounding stands turned pale with fright and fled in all directions. However, when the chi landed, many people screamed as they were killed by the chi. Boom! Boom! The grandstand of the Colosseum was constantly rumbling, and a large pit was created. Cracks appeared on the ground. Through these large pits and cracks, one could see that there was a huge underground space beneath the Colosseum. The ground had been completely excavated, forming a huge secret chamber that imprisoned countless desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Countless spectators fled in all directions. Many of them flew up into the sky. It was a mess. In the sky, Lu Ming and all evil were still in a stalemate. Boom! Boom! The two of them exchanged a few more moves. In the end, Lu Ming gained the upper hand and defeated All Evil's silver claw in one fell swoop. All Evil's body shook violently and was sent flying. Lu Ming did not give chase. He twisted his body and rushed underground instead. Boom! Lu Ming's spear swept out and hit the ground. The ground burst out with a terrifying roar and collapsed continuously. The vast underground space was completely exposed. Some of the secret rooms crumbled, and some wild beasts rushed out. Roar! Roar! Many desolate beasts, with huge bodies, hauled towards the sky and charged out of the shackles, charging into the sky. Set up the formation. All evil roared. More than 500 demon city guards set up a great formation in the sky. The formation activated, and countless beams of divine light shot toward the wild beasts. Many of the wild beasts were pierced by the divine light and died on the spot. Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and the others? Take me there. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Wu Zifeng. Follow me. Wu Zifeng shouted and rushed toward a crack in the ground. Lu Ming followed closely behind and flew into the underground space. Originally, the underground space of the Colosseum had been guarded by many Magic City guards. However, now that the Magic City guards had all gone out, there was no obstruction in the underground space. The underground space was huge and divided into 7 levels. According to Wu Zifeng, they were locked up on the 5th floor. The two of them headed straight for the 5th level. However, wherever Lu Ming passed by, he would make a move and blast open the secret chambers to release the desolate beasts and demonic slaves inside. Chapter 2961 Three Great Demon Kings. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Ha ha ha, I'm free. I'm going to kill my way out and kill those sons of B** cheese in Shanghai. Many demonic slaves roared. Their eyes were ferocious and their killing intent was cold. Some of the demon slaves here were those who had made mistakes in Magic City Mountain and were sent here to become demon slaves. However, most of the fiend slaves were sneakily captured by Magic City Mountain from the outside. These fiend slaves naturally hated Magic City Mountain to the core. Roar! Many desolate beasts roared angrily, their huge bodies colliding everywhere as they rushed outside. There were also many demonic slaves that charged into other secret chambers, releasing even more demonic slaves and desolate beasts. After that, Lu Ming did not have to do anything. The secret room in the underground space was constantly being opened. Demonic slaves and desolate beasts kept rushing out and killing. However, the Myriad Fiend Lord and the 500 demonic city guards were too powerful. They formed a large formation and shot out beams of divine light, killing a large number of demonic slaves and desolate beasts. However, there were too many demonic slaves and desolate beasts, and there was no lack of powerful existences among them. Evil and the others began to feel some pressure. Quick, send the signal and ask for help. 1,000 evils roared. Immediately, someone sent out a signal. Beams of light shot up into the sky and could be seen throughout the entire demonic city. Something has happened in the animal arena. It's a rescue signal. Get ready to move. All of a sudden, the entire Shanghai was alarmed. All the Shanghai guards were ready to go. Shanghai guards, assemble. 2 figures walked out of the city lord's mansion. One was a middle-aged man, and the other was an old man. Both of them exuded a terrifying aura. The 2 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 2 of the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital. Buzz! Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! Beams of light flew over from all directions of Shanghai and landed in front of the 2. They were all Shanghai guards in iron armors. Soon, there were about 2,000 Shanghai guards gathered here. You guys, come with us to support the Colosseum and kill all the enemies. A demon master spoke, his voice loud and clear. Kill! All of the guards roared. Then, the 2 demon masters led about 2,000 demonic city guards and charged into the Colosseum. It seems that someone can't help but make the first move. Not far away, a figure flashed and a young figure appeared. This figure was Su Mu. Huh, just as well. We've lured away quite a few of the Shanghai guards. Now, we can also start taking action. Another figure appeared from another direction. It was Pei Lin. Let's just wait for the battle to start, in case these demonic city guards come back. On the other side, two figures appeared. They were Wuxia and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The one who had just spoken was Wuxia. That's right. Let's wait. This time, I must get a Demon Master token. Pei Lin muttered, his eyes flashing with killing intent. In the nearby buildings, figures flickered. Besides Wuxia, Pei Lin and the others, there were also some other heaven's favorites. These people seemed to have a common purpose, and they were waiting quietly. In the Colosseum, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng reached the 5th level without a hitch. In a secret chamber, he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong. The two of them looked haggard. Magic City Mountain shall be destroyed. Seeing Qiu Yu's haggard face, Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a shocking murderous intent. Young Master. Lu Ming. Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiu Yu, are you alright? Lu Ming asked. I'm fine. Don't worry, young master. Qiu Yu shook her head and smiled. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He was relieved to see that Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were fine. Let's go, well charge out. Lu Ming said. Then, he rushed out with Qiu Yu and the rest. Outside, it was a complete mess. The demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged forward, while all evil and the demon capital guards set up a large formation to kill the demonic slaves and desolate beasts. The huge Colosseum was filled with blood and qi, making it look like hell on earth. That brat, it's that brat. He's trying to save someone and leave. Wan Xing was hiding behind evildoer and was scanning the area. He noticed Lu Ming and Qiu Yu the moment they came out. But then again, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body state. It would be difficult for him not to attract attention. Don't let that brat escape, kill him. All evil roared and commanded the demonic city guards. Instantly, beams of terrifying divine light shot towards Lu Ming. Hide behind me. Lu Ming shouted and protected Qiu Yu and the others behind him. He waved his long spear and swept it toward the divine light. Boom! 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 A series of rumbles sounded, and beams of divine light were sent flying by him. Let's go! Lu Ming controlled his divine energy and enveloped Qiu Yu and the other two with it. He took them and was about to rush in another direction. He planned to leave this place first and settle this score with Magic City Mountain. If you want to leave, stop him. Don't care about those fiend slaves. This kid is the main culprit. We must kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Following that, the great array formed by all evil and the demonic city guards changed its direction and blasted most of the divine light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the group's path was blocked. Let's go, let's. With that, many of the demonic slaves and wild beasts were free from the blockade. They broke out of the encirclement and flew towards the sky above the Colosseum. You want to leave? All of you, stay here. At this time, a cold voice rang out. In the sky, a blood-red blade light suddenly appeared. At least dozens of demonic slaves were killed by the saber light. He he he. A sharp sneer was heard. Pairs of ghostly claws suddenly appeared in the sky and clawed down, killing dozens of demonic slaves. Then, two figures appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. Demon Lord, it's the Demon Lord. Damn it! Many of the demon slaves shouted in fear. The other two demon masters had arrived at Demon Capital Mountain. At the same time, a stream of light flew over from behind. The other Shanghai guards were also rushing over. Rush out, let's rush out together. Otherwise, when those Shanghai guards arrive, we'll all die. A fiend slave roared. Kill! Kill them all! Charge! Many demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged into the sky. You're looking for death. The two demon masters shouted at the same time and attacked together. The blood-red blade light and the pitch-black ghostly claw reappeared in the void. The cultivation of the fiend master was too strong. He completely suppressed these desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Screams filled the air as large numbers of demonic slaves and desolate beasts' corpses fell to the ground. After a while, the demonic city guards arrived. The battle was one-sided, and it became a massacre. On the other side, Lu Ming's path was also blocked. "Get lost!" Lu Ming let out a long howl. His long spear grew to a few hundred meters long and swept out continuously. The divine lights were blasted away. However, the combined power of all evil and the 500 demonic city guards was truly astonishing. Lu Ming continued to attack, but he was still firmly held back. Chapter 2963 Attacking the City Lord's Mansion. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. 3 Apocalyptic Strikes, Star Explosion. Seeing that the other demon masters and demon city guards were rushing over, Lu Ming was a little anxious and used his strongest move. Lu Ming's body burst out with a dazzling spear's gleam. An incomparably huge spear's gleam soared into the sky like a pillar that held up the sky. Star Explosion, when cultivated to the highest level, was said to be able to blow up a planet. After casting this move, endless divine power in Lu Ming's body surged towards his hands as if it was free. The divine power in Lu Ming's body, the divine power of 10 divine flames, was sucked dry in an instant. This move consumed too much divine power. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the measure formula. The quantity formula glowed and a steady stream of divine power poured into Lu Ming's body. The divine power in Lu Ming's body became thick again and he was at his peak. As soon as this move was used, all evil's expression changed drastically as he felt a fatal crisis. "Quick, quick, gather our strength!" 1,000 evils roared. Buzz! And NBSP whoosh! Each of the guards emitted a brilliant light. They formed a formation, and it was as if there was an invisible thread connecting them together. Their powers were able to link up with each other. Boom! A huge beam of divine light was formed and blasted toward Lu Ming, clashing with the Star Explosion move. The entire Colosseum was shaking violently. Endless energy bombarded the seats, the stands, and the walls around the Colosseum. Even with the protection of the array, the Colosseum was unable to withstand the force. It continued to collapse and explode. In the next moment, the entire Colosseum collapsed and turned into ruins. Some of the fiend slaves and desolate beasts nearby were torn apart by the overflowing energy and died on the spot before they could even scream. "Break, break!" Lu Ming let out a long howl and held the spear with both hands. Divine energy continuously rushed into the long spear in his hands. The radiance of the spear became even more dazzling. When the radiance reached a certain level, it exploded. The spear radiance exploded with terrifying energy, directly destroying the divine light condensed by the great formation of Shanghai's defense. Boom! Waves of terrifying energy charged towards the formation formed by the Shanghai guards. Continuous screams rang out as cracks appeared on the bodies of some of the weaker guards. Then, they were torn to pieces. In a short while, at least a few dozen Shanghai guards had died. The entire Magic City Guards formation had been pushed back thousands of meters. Such power, Wan Yi was trembling with fear. The power of Lu Ming's move was truly terrifying. If he were to face this move alone, he would be seriously injured even if he did not die. On the other side, the other two demon masters were also extremely shocked when they saw this scene. "That brat is evil, they'll bring people to help evil." One of the demon masters, who looked like an old man, said. He led over 1,000 demon city guards and charged towards the Myriad fiend demon lord. "Set up the formation." The elder-looking demon master gave the order. Immediately, thousands of demonic city guards formed a new formation. Divine power surged, and a divine light blasted toward Lu Ming. Fortunately, Lu Ming's divine energy was abundant. He turned his long spear and launched a terrifying attack. It collided with the divine light and his body was forced to retreat 100 meters. Kill this brat. All Evil roared. At this moment, he no longer wanted to capture Lu Ming alive. He only wanted to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying and it made him tremble with fear. The two demon masters and the two great formations of the demonic city's defense launched a series of attacks on Lu Ming. Divine power Dharma form, ice chains, 9-layered crimson gold armor, 3 world-ending strikes. Lu Ming's body glowed continuously. He cast all his divine skills and secret skills to fight against his opponent. With the power of the ancient god body in his terrifying defense, he managed to resist the attack. This brat is only a third-level celestial deity. How could he have such terrifying strength? Furthermore, what was going on with his Shen power? Why does it seem like we can't finish it? All Evil, the old-looking demon master, and even many of the demon capital guards were unable to calm down. They were all extremely shocked. If it was anyone else, they would have run out of divine power in such a confrontation. However, Lu Ming was able to maintain each of his moves at its peak and unleash its strongest power. Dragon Cave, ignore the fiend slaves and kill this brat. Infinite Evil roared. Of course, he was shouting at the demon master who looked like a middle-aged man. All right. The Dragon Cave's gaze let go of the demonic slaves and led the remaining 1,000-plus demonic city guards towards Wuxia and the others. Let's set up a formation together and form a large formation. Dragon Cave said. In an instant, All Evil, Dragon Cave, and the other two demon kings led the 2,500 or so demon city guards, and their figures flickered as they merged together to form an even larger demon city guard formation. This way, the power was even more shocking. Whoosh! A beam of light, huge and boundless, shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear swept out and collided with the light pillar. At that moment, Lu Ming felt a violent force rushing at him. His body trembled and he retreated continuously. The power of the formation formed by 3 great demon kings and 2,500 demonic city guards was too strong. It had completely surpassed Lu Ming's. Kill this bastard. At the side, Wan Xing roared loudly, extremely excited. He was so jealous of Lu Ming's talent that he could not wait to kill him. Kill! The array was activated again and Lu Ming was forced to retreat. At this moment, outside the city lord's mansion. It seems that they've already started fighting. Let's make our move. The Witch Blood said. Do it. Pei Lin was very direct. He turned into a blade light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Slash, die. Pei Lin shouted and slashed down. A huge blade light, thousands of miles long, enveloped the entire city lord's mansion and was about to split it in half. But at this time, a giant stick rose up from the city lord's mansion and hit the blade light. The blade light, which was thousands of miles long, was shattered. I knew that you people didn't have good intentions. A deep voice was heard. Then, a burly figure rushed out of the city lord's mansion and stood in the air. It was an ape-man who was 5 meters tall and covered in black hair. He held a black iron rod in his hand and emitted a shocking aura. It was the chi of a half-step divine king. You're one of the 9 great demon kings. Pylon said coldly. Not bad. The ape said. Just in time. After killing you, I can complete my mission. Pei Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he activated his divine power. He took a step forward and charged towards the ape-man. The terrifying blade light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. I'd like to see how strong a genius who can control divine-grade divine power is. The ape-man waved his iron staff and charged at Pei Lin. The two of them fought head-on and exchanged blows continuously. For a while, there was no clear winner. However, Pei Lin seemed to be at a disadvantage. The half-step Divine King was extremely powerful and his divine power was extremely dense. Although Pei Lin was a divine son, he was only an 8th-level heavenly god after all. However, it would not be easy for the other party to win. Kill! Kill! At this moment, Wuxia, Sumu, and the others all rushed out and attacked the city master's mansion. Chapter 2964 Four Great Geniuses. Please continue reading on Oxville. Omicron M. Wuxia, Sumu, and the others also rushed to the city master's mansion. However, a powerful aura also burst out from the city master's mansion. Boom! Boom! Figures rushed out one after another, forcing Wuxia and the others to retreat. Devil Lord! Wuxia's eyes focused on the figure in front of him. Including the ape-man from before, there were a total of 6 figures. Their auras were extremely thick, and their divine power erupted like a volcano. All 6 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 6 of the 9 great devil kings. In addition to the 3 great demon kings of the Colosseum, the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital were all present. As expected, you foreign heaven's favorites don't have good intentions in coming to Shanghai. One of the demon masters said coldly. It's too late to know now. Wuxia said gloomily. Too late? Hehe, you want to act so atrociously in Shanghai? Today, all of you shall stay here. One of the demon masters said coldly, his voice filled with cold killing intent. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people rushed out of the city lord's mansion. All of them were magic city guards in iron armor, and there were nearly 5,000 of them. It was said that there were 8,000 magic city guards in Magic City, and almost all of them, except for the Colosseum, were present. The combined aura of the 6 great devil kings and nearly 5,000 demonic city guards was truly terrifying. Like the ocean waves, they surged towards Wuxia and the others one after another, forcing them to retreat. It was obvious that the city lord's mansion of Shanghai had already made preparations. Everyone's here, very good. At this time, a cold voice suddenly rang out in the void. Then, a sword light suddenly descended from the sky and charged towards the group of Shanghai guards. This sword light was astonishingly fast, and it disappeared in a flash. Not good, quickly retreat. One of the demon masters shouted. But it was too late. Pfft! Blood splattered everywhere as the sword light flashed. At least 100 demonic city guards were killed. Their bodies were cut in half, and their souls were obliterated by the terrifying sword chi. In the next moment, a black-robed young man appeared in the sky, standing with a sword in his hand. This is 9th level celestial deity realm. A demon master cried out in alarm, his expression grave. Clearly, the black-robed youth was not an ordinary 9th level celestial deity, but a 9th level celestial deity who controlled divine-grade divine power. Back then, during the great battle in Demonic City, such a character did not appear at all. Ha ha ha, the Demon King token, I want it. At this time, a loud laugh came from a building not far away. Then, a golden light flashed, and a burly figure appeared in the sky. His entire body was covered in golden divine light. This was also a young man whose cultivation had reached the 9th level celestial deity realm. The Demon King's token is mine. A deep voice sounded. Another young man came from another direction. The aura that this person emitted was shockingly also 9th level celestial deity. The 6 demon kings' faces turned ugly. They didn't expect so many terrifying heaven's favorites to enter Demonic City. During the demonic city war, these heaven's favorites didn't appear. This caused them to underestimate the strength of the heaven's favorites from outside. However, Wuxia and the others looked very calm. It was obvious that they had known about the existence of these heaven's favorites. Clang! Clang! Pei Lin and the ape-men were still fighting, but Pei Lin was gradually losing. Do it, or else things will change. The young man who was covered in golden light said. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure turned into a golden light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Set up the formation. A demon king roared, summoning the demon capital guards to set up a large formation. However, at this moment, a black fog suddenly appeared in the sky above the city lord's mansion. The fog instantly enveloped the 5,000 demonic city guards and the 6 demon kings. Ah! Ah! Some of the Shanghai guards held onto their heads and screamed in pain. After a while, some of the Shanghai guards fell to the ground and stopped breathing. Even those with higher cultivation had pained expressions on their faces. This mist can harm the soul. Leave this place. One of the demon masters roared as he charged out, wanting to leave this place. Stay here. A cold voice was heard. The black-robed young man with a long sword in his hand charged toward the demon master. The demon master bellowed and launched an attack to block it. However, after a flash of sword light, the demon master retreated. A deep wound appeared on his body, and blood flowed out. The demon master's eyes were filled with shock. Although he was a half-step divine king, he was no match for the black-robed young man, especially when he was surrounded by the mist and his soul was injured. Kill! The black-robed youth coldly snorted as he continued to attack. He seemed to be unafraid of the mist. Senior brother has made his move. Kill, kill! Wu Shui's face lit up with joy as she charged over as well. At the same time, the other young men also made their moves and charged at the Shanghai guards. These young men were clearly well prepared. They weren't afraid of the mist and could maintain their combat strength at their peak. As for the demonic city guards, their souls had been injured by the mist and their strength had been greatly reduced. They weren't a match at all. As soon as the two sides exchanged blows, a large number of Shanghai guards were killed. In less than a minute, over 1,000 Shanghai guards had fallen. Ah! An angry roar came from the ape demon master. At that moment, a bloodied young man appeared behind the ape demon master. His claws pierced through the ape demon master's heart, and with a squeeze, a terrifying power erupted from the ape demon master's body. The ape demon master screamed as he was killed. Senior brother. The witch's blood and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm were overjoyed to see the blood-soaked young man. This blood-soaked youth was also a 9th-level celestial deity. The mist earlier was released by him. Kill! The blood-soaked youth charged at another demon master. Pfft! Not long after, another demon master was killed by the young man who was covered in golden light. In an instant, only 4 of the 6 great demon kings remained. At this moment, the mist was everywhere. The demonic city guards were at a complete disadvantage. People were being killed at every moment. Quick, send a message to the infernal king. Call the demon king out. And NBSP, kill. The demon masters shouted and transmitted messages to the night demon king. With their current strength, they were no longer able to stop the foreign heavens pride experts. If this continued, they would all die. However, there was no news after they sent the message. The night demon king did not appear. What's going on? Damn it! A few demon masters shouted. I'll send you on your way. The blood bubble young man sneered. Now, there were only 4 demon masters left. As for the foreign prodigies, there were also 4 9th-level heavenly deities, 1 for each of them. Originally, these demon masters' strength was inferior to these 9th-level heavenly deity divine sons of heaven's pride. In addition, they were affected by the fog and became even weaker. They were simply not a match for them. Even if I die, I won't let you have an easy time. Let's die together. And NBSP, the remaining 4 demon kings were all going all out, burning their divine power and fighting with the 4 prodigies. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.